Huh?
Sure. Sure. Dead.
CGI. It's a term I'm willing to bet you've heard before, because it's everywhere. This worm, this purple man, everything in between is the work of computer-generated images. Regardless of the benefits or the faults, CGI has found itself as an essential, unanimous part of media production. Which is kind of funny, because just a few decades ago this technology was unnoticed by most of the general public. It was time-consuming, highly technical, and niche. I mean, think about it. Even the most powerful supercomputers of the 60s, 70s, and 80s couldn't hold a candle next to this smart fridge. And while most researchers were using these to make math go faster, CGI could just make funny-looking pictures. The value it would have was not easily apparent, and the skills you would need to get into all this in the first place was not for the faint of heart. Now, I don't want to talk too much about the live-action CGI stuff here, just the pure, good CGI demos and shorts leading up to, let's say, Toy Story.
I mean that if I point at this particular point and tell the computer to move that point by another push-button command, it will move not only that point, but all three lines that are attached to it.
And the delay between it's doing what you want it to is because it's computing all these changes.
That's correct.
CGI has actually been around for quite a while. In the 50s, analog computers could graph out patterns and lines. By the 60s, we would have wireframe demos, morphing of images, but it's not quite what we think of as true CGI today. This decade has a lot of important milestones, sure, but a lot of them look like this. For the more conventional works, we would have to go into the 1970s. One of the most significant demos here was 1972's aptly named Computer Animated Hand. You can see some of the earliest full meshes, shading, and even a human face. Sure, it's slightly uncanny, but I'd argue by this point it was almost more cartoonish than creepy. Following up on this was 1974's Faces and Body Parts, which expanded on the human face and added the element of speech.
How happy is the little stone that rambles in the road alone, and never cares about careers, and exigencies never fears.
These early tests were groundbreaking, sure, but in the process found themselves deep in the uncanny valley. Not all CGI was being done for research, though. There was a small commercial element to all this even in the early 1970s, namely in advertising and station breaks. You can find several companies putting out demo reels showing any ads they've produced along with the tech demos they've created. These demos could bring in more clients and potentially more employees interested in working with what was at the time a very niche segment of the computer industry. One of my favorites is Maggie Synthavision's 1974 reel.
From a computer, me and my hat, and everything else you're gonna see in this film.
There's certainly limitations in the CGI of the era, that's apparent, but this is actually one of the most advanced demos I've found. Simple polygonal shapes, flat colors without texture. Cityscapes and cars were quite popular in 80s CGI, but for the 70s, this is astounding. It's a very empty space. You can tell where the world begins and ends, but that's par for the course in most early CGI. By the late 70s, we would start to see the earliest short films using three-dimensional polygons. Here is 1978's On and Off at the Circus. That was disturbing. The circus, the clown, the way this bear floats around. Computing physics in an animation like this wasn't going to happen. A lot of these researchers weren't traditional animators. They came from computer backgrounds, and this was a fun way to show off the cutting-edge tech at the time. Complex backgrounds of anything more than a simple color would be pretty unrealistic to expect. This is 1970s CGI after all. Released the same year, Voyager 2 Encounters Jupiter has aged much better. Having a background of stars was ideal in early CGI. You don't need to worry about rendering more objects. It gives much needed spatial context, and you don't have a black void. Also, having a setting of space makes the lighting a bit more realistic since you only need to account for one light source, the sun. Even with slightly janky animations, the camera moves well, and this is a top-tier demo for the 70s. By the end of the decade, in 1978, the first ray tracing demo was produced. The Complete Angler. It's a bona fide classic. You could call this the birth of Vaporwave. Look at those refractions and reflections. At the end, we get this camera movement into the courtyard, and we get water. Things were moving pretty fast, at least the way I'm describing them. The gap between the early 70s CGI and the late 70s was pretty big, but the 80s, well, it just had a lot more going on. There's a particular fascination with landscapes in the early 80s. Take Peak, an early fractal demo. It's a mountain sitting on a plane in a void. Fractals allowed you to create these models without actually modeling every individual surface, which made it ideal for mountainous terrain. Violiba is another demo from the same year, and I prefer this, not just because it has a Utah teapot at the beginning. There's an amazing sense of scale here, and if you really squint your eyes and shake your head around a lot, it looks like real mountains. A lot of landscapes in these early 80s shorts. Take Carla's Island from 81. We get this approximation of water and weather systems. Two islands on an empty sea. The waves move in a very mathematical fashion. The clouds aren't quite transparent, but the reflections are pretty convincing at first glance. And look how the lighting changes. It's wonderful. You'll notice a trend of a lot of cities being rendered in this time, especially in advertising. Generally, these would have a low polygon city filled with skyscrapers and streets, devoid of any background. Landscapes and cities could be represented by simple polygonal shapes. They don't need to move around, so you don't need to animate parts of the character. So, a lot of this has aged decently well. Early 80s demos would generally avoid shadows. You might notice these shadowed gradients on objects, but it always looks really harsh. One of my favorites, and one of the most unsettling shorts, is 1981's Adam Powers' The Juggler. As he keeps juggling, he warps reality, and he keeps juggling, and then he warps reality, and then he disappears. The music doesn't help ease the tension in the air. This feels like it defines a lot of the early 80s CGI. Overly saturated colors, set in space. Most objects don't cast shadows, but when they do, oh, they sure do. 1982 was a big year for CGI because we got Tron. You remember Tron? Look at it go. We also got the Genesis effect in Star Trek II, using some of those fractal landscape techniques we saw earlier. And just 1 year later, we'd be blessed with the short demo When Mandrills Ruled Heaven. It has ray tracing, and a monkey. A lot of these demos have a real nightmare dreamscape vibe. Here's a skeleton man who uses his eye to play billiards. I do appreciate the bouncing of the balls, though. Physics simulations are appreciated because, well, this was the alternative. As far as skeletons go, though, I think this 1983 Ohio State demo does it best. It's just a hopping, happy skeleton man, walking through empty rooms with no ceiling. It's quite an aesthetic. Less appealing is this.
Well, I guess we'll do Russia. We'll check out Russia, everybody. Okay, well. That was Russia, everybody. Mario's face. Oh, Mario's face. That wasn't Mario. Sorry-o. Well, get ready for Germany. How accurate is it? Very. Even though this game doesn't have it, I feel it needs like unregistered hypercam in the corner. Let me just fix this game. It's being too nice. Hang on. Now we're playing. Uh-huh. Alright, let's see what places we... Okay. Thank God. Thank God. Just get me out of here. Get me out of here. Because I think it's time to play Hotel Mario. Please. I have an idea. Wait a minute. I have a great idea. Okay, nobody has dubbed it in Portuguese. I want to, like, just layer a YouTube video on top of it, but nobody has gone that far yet. They have? What?
Tomara que ela fez vários espaguete.
Why is there no delete button on YouTube?
Temos que salvar a princesa. Cuidado, Bowser!
Okay, so now I'm about to play this. And you need to visualize the cutscenes. That's what you're listening to.
Cuidado, Bowser!
Here we fucking go.
Cuidado, Bowser!
Oh, the timing! Brazilian Hotel Bar is gonna be the enemy. Fuck. Oh, it's a blessing. Okay. Guys, let's do the final level. See what happens. How do you get the gameplay of Mario Brothers 2 into this? Ooh, sounds drunk. How do I lift stuff? So, the fundamentals of like grabbing shit in this is not in it. To grab stuff, hold 1 down and shake the Wiimote. I don't think it'll have to do. Let me tell you something, how super Joel is. For a split moment there, as I'm playing this with my PlayStation 2 controller, I was shaking the controller in an attempt to emulate the Wii. When you heard this noise? Like that? That's me in a futile attempt to just like crossbreed technology on the fly. Wait, what the fuck? We have a problem. I'm gonna remix it on the fly. The whole world is watching, I can't fuck up. Wait a minute.
Oh no! Here we go again!
No, we don't. I'm kind of disappointed we don't get like Super Mario Brothers, the movie, as a game. Oh, look at that Shy Guy! Oh, it's just like a stock cannon. Please. Please. Wait a minute, what the fuck? Oh, this sick remix! What? I still died though, like an idiot. Hey, Pauline, help. That's right. Bye. What the fuck? What? What happened? Last level, boys. Guys, speedrun time. Look how pro I am. Don't look. Para fazer salto. I'm pretty salto after this stream.
Oh yeah!
Mario time! Oh my god, my eyes! What does Mario Land look like? I'm sorry. I just need to see this. And how does it look? Oh, Excelente. That's sweet remix though. And that sweet, sweet, omnipotent judging Joshi. Guys, what the fuck did the soundtrack just do? The bass are out of tune.
Mario time! Fix my eyes!
I'm sad that Mario 64 isn't in this pack. You can see the duct tape holding this game together. Yeah, that's why I love it. So honest, you know. Seal of quality, huh? Oh! Fancy. Look at this. Mario goes in the cave. Slowly. Wario. Wait, is this like Wario's castle? Like the end of the game? Let's just go fight Wario, I guess. Oh, it's so fucking narrow. I'm so huge. Oh, wow. Ah. Hitboxes. Hitboxes. Oh, the sound. Alright, bastard. Wario time? Or it's just a JPEG. No. Oh,
Oh yeah!
I was making a fucking joke. I wasn't. So what do I do with you? Wario's been fucking destroyed. He's fucking annihilated. Here he is. Super. Oh, bye. Oh my god. Wario's fucking dead. Guys, I beat it. Theme.
A single tear running across Wario's face.
I mean, honestly, what can I say except he's doing the John Lennon walk meme. Wait, let me position him right. United at last. The absolute madman.
Hey, did you see the newest Lego Ninjas Go set? You mean Ninjago? No, it's Ninjas Go.
Huh?
It's the Ponad 40 model. What in the actual hell are you talking about? Sonic 2, the Hedgehog. Oh, come on. You guys didn't have the courage to name all of these? Cowards. Also, why are there 3 Sonics? LQS, which looks like Lego from across the room if you have your glasses off, presents Spider Hero, feasting off the bones of his enemies. I mean, that's totally a spider web. Heroic expedition. What in the fresh hell is happening to Mysterio's? Oh, that's the thing in his hand. That's unfortunately placed. You're not you when you're hungry. Sniper ice cream. You're not you when you're hungry. I know, make sure nobody else is either. Fashion 2. Not at all the name of that movie, but I mean, the cape was pretty fashionable. I'll give you that. Findiana Bones. And the Raiders of the Lost Cheeseburgers? Macaroons? Are those supposed to be coins? They kind of look like yellow Oreos. Ah, now I'm hungry. Galileo's Oh Yorkie. I'm not going to turn to that because it's not English. But why did you fill Sonic with chlorophyll? In the new Pokemon Beige, Jenny Turtle. I loved Dinosaur World. Dinosaur World Build Ball series. This is like real life r/Sububby. A mystical tale of magic and wizards. Justice Magician. I don't even know what fake Lego company this is from, but I like that they copied the entire Lego info panel down to the font for the 16 plus. Good Cops. I can't read the rest of that, but the hell do you mean by good cops? I loved the part of Kung Fu Panda where they fought Naruto. That was a thing. I'm actually gonna add 1 point back because this is the side of like a street food vendor, and just the art is just impressive. Toy Large 5. Coming to you soon from Disney. We have Hootie, Laosu, Gago Yan Yan Yan. God, I realize I'm not gonna keep going. I realize it's not English, but at this point, you're already engaging in copyright infringement, so you're kind of opening yourself up to be a target of mockery. This vintage Super Mario bootleg children's chair I found at Goodwill. Why is Super Mario that sunburned? Why is that bread or ice cream or peaches? Why is everything outside and there's Christmas gifts? And why does Peach look like an illustration out of a 1950s book about pilgrims? Why are they doing laundry? I don't understand. The Larry movie 2. You're welcome. We didn't ask. I love the main character, Larry. Hey, can I take a look at that lens real quick? Yeah, it's a Caniam. Yeah, I don't think that's the right spelling for Canon. I think you might have gotten a fake. Supreme. This is obviously just a parody at this point. This isn't even crappy off brands. Spider-Man. Spatter. Why are there like 4 of them? This is the worst version of multiverses I've ever seen. Surin, Mario, run. I vaguely remember this from a very early crappy design or not, I don't remember. But I do remember them swapping Mario and Luigi's colors, hoping that was just enough to keep off Nintendo's lawyers. Avengebs. Found in Greece. Well, look, the Avengebs. We have Vibian, Black Panther, and Scablet Witch. Delicious. Also, how is the box that big and it's 34 pieces? Is it literally just like 3 minifigures and a few accessories? Wow, I didn't think anybody would actually go through the time and effort to rip off Minions from Despicable Me, considering they're like already so over merchandised. But somebody clearly had a lot of time on their hands. Oh my god, I finally found it. It's the super rare Ben 10 figure of him in his Wolverine state. Yeah, the Mini Invincibles from Tobot. Is this supposed to be Voltron? There's way too much. There's so much. I'm not even gonna touch it. Despicable Me 2, which I did not watch, but I had no idea that Gru became like or a minion became the size of Gru, which is absolutely terrifying. Mr. Vancouver Monopoly. Vancouver Money Market? Oh, it's a currency exchange. Oh my god. The way you phrased that, OP, just made it seem like they were printing money. Mick Kebab. Actually, this is genius. I would eat at a place called Mick Kebab. I do like the fact that they specify it's pizza cut, like as opposed to an uncut pizza sandwich. That hot dog looks really good though. Naval Strike. I'm sorry, what? You had to knock off Battleship. Really? A game you can play with graph paper in math class instead of actually paying attention. I mean, what? Neo, these are still around actually, and they are not bad. If you're in the US and you go to Dollar General, sometimes a Dollar Tree, or Family Dollar, they will sometimes have these, and they're not bad. Tesla headphones. See, the problem is, Tesla makes enough random, completely unrelated crap that I would be inclined to believe that Tesla did make headphones. But I also know they would never put something in packaging this crowded. It would just be like the Tesla logo and like a picture of the outline of an ear, and you're just supposed to expect what's inside. All right, I don't follow shoes. I wear combat boots and like goth boots with straps all the way up them. I thought these were Nike Airs. Are these not Niki Airs? I don't know. It might be a mixed up logo. I don't care enough to look it up. I'm sorry. Sneakerheads enjoy this one. Oh my god, the new Ninja Tortoise is out. You still talking about Ninjago? No. Ninja Tortoise. You mean Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? No. Ninja Tortoise. It's a building set. Get out. Terrible Panasonic ripoff. Pansanite. I can't tell if it sounds like a crystal or a medical condition.
Yes, here, Pansanite will grow from the roof of the cavern, and if you touch it, you can get Pansanite, which is a condition in which you uncontrollably buy crappy VR glasses.
Special gifts for beginners only. I don't get this. This looks like Pokemon with Charizard. Like they're going full out for pet fantasy growing. Crazy. Woman with a Miss Piggy head. This ad is for plastic surgery. Look, there's places you should be advertising that kind of stuff. But it probably shouldn't be a billboard in view of everyone, because I don't think you're advertising what you think you're advertising. Pokechi. It's kind of cute in a terrifying way. E-boy. No, that's not an e-boy. Oh, you didn't have the spirit or the right idea. You're just confused. Deformed car. That's what I'm calling all Transformers from here on out. Deformed cars. Rule out. Mr. Pringles grew a beard. Oh my god, he did. Schneider's. Hipster, golden, and crunchy, gently salted. I like that they don't ever specify that they're potato chips. They're just golden and crunchies. Ideal protein. Ranch-flavored Dorados. They're not Doritos. They're Dorados. Another one I think I might steal. Real mayo. As opposed to, oh god, it's all been a lie. Reality is unraveling before me. The mayonnaise was watching us all along. Super change. Super change for what? He looks the same. Put on a slightly different suit over in the corner. That's not a super change. It's a pretty mediocre one. African fried chicken. Oh, okay. That doesn't, I'm just gonna walk right past that. Do want to point out that the F and the C are lifted directly from the KFC logo, but they made their own A, not attempting to correct for the lettering or anything. Oh my god. What? Play kids game and learn. Play kids game and learn what? How to terrify your children? I mean, I would buy it. I would buy a T-Rex Spider-Saurus costume. I don't know what this is, but I want it. I assume it's a costume because it's holding up a dodgeball. But what am I supposed to be learning? Super Rooter. For those that might not be familiar, in the US, there's a company called Roto-Rooter, which is a very popular, well, not popular, but just a big plumbing company. This kind of slightly off branding is very common in the trades, actually, so not so surprised on this one. Oh my god, what happened? What did they do to you? Oh, what is this? Oh, look, it's Seinfeld. No, turn the laugh track off. What happened with Ben 10? Is it even still in the air? Why is it being stapled on all of the counterfeit stuff? I don't understand. Why am I turning into Morty? A picture of all the affordable doctors in the USA. Truth. But anyways, Dr. Choice, Dr. Bold, Dr. that doesn't say projects, Dr. Bob, Dr. Victory, the real doctor. It's the only real one there. Dr. Thunder, Dr. Right. Ooh. Dr. K, Dr. I can't see what that is. That's too blurry. Dr. A+, Dr. Stripes. No idea what doctor that is. Dr. Skip? This doctor. Dr. something else that's too blurry. Get a better camera. Dr. Snap. Dr. Perky. Dr. Shasta. Oh my god, I forgot about Shasta. That's amazing. It's like a store brand. It was the old Walmart store brand. Dr. Becker. Dr. Spicy. Dr. Free. Dr. Levy. And Dr. Refresher, I guess, because that's way too small. Good lord. Can you imagine the people at the trademark office just being like, oh god, not another one. Phony. Well, at least they're up front. You know, I gotta respect the fact that they're at least telling you up front it's fake. South hockey. Are you just making fun of the fact that air hockey exists? I don't understand. Magic hockey, unless there's a brand name for tables, because I don't know. I wouldn't know that. Special heroes. Super. I didn't. Somebody explain to me the movie that I missed. which has Superman, I think that's Venom, a Ninja Turtle, Shrek, another Spider-Man, possibly armored, and Batman, with Buzz Lightyear. And more stolen Spider-Man art because I think several corporate lawyers just arose from their beds, ready to kill the super spitting Silk Man.
Oh, that's uncomfortable.
Is that She-Hulk or I can't even tell anymore. What is this? Why is there like a wrestling belt thing? At least there's a Spider-Man and there's a Dr. Octagonopus. Blah. But they're not even trying. And they're giving us uncomfortable truths about the way that Spider-Man makes his webs in reality. It's not a we, it's a we need. Game Sports includes 48 TV games. Wow. This is garbage. I take it back. It's not garbage because Stuart Ashens could probably make content out of it. Diana, not even close to Sprite. Clear lemonade. Possibly not even carbonated. Why is this a thing? Also, Pokemon Game Freak? Are you? Oh God. Star World, are you ripping off Lego sets again? I will come through the screen. You are trying to imitate a Lego UCS set. I will insert every small piece from this set into your ears and shake you like a rattle. I'm sorry, are these soda branded magical bubble sticks? Because that sounds kind of cool, but also, why is the sun-kissed blue? And why are some of these not even sodas? I'm so confused. We need more Dr. Pepper ones in here. Flintstone's grocery store. Fred's Food Club. Wow. Where is this? This can't be in the US. Like, Warner Brothers would be all over them. Galaxy Detective, Storm Joe. Is this like G.I. Joe Transformers? Oh, it's Tobot again. Datway. Oh, I wanted to know what was actually in. Is it a sandwich shop? I want to try it. Professor Peppy wasn't a doctor. Couldn't get the doctor, but zero sugar. See, kids? If you don't eat your sugar, you don't end up being a doctor. Supreme for all of your takeaway needs. Supreme wings, burgers, and donor. Did you mean dinner? That is the one thing I've never understood about the Supreme brand because it's literally just text on a red background. It's not, to me personally, special. Like, it's so easily replicable, but I'm sure there's people that find Lego and collectibles and prop weapons worthless and useless, and you know, the world needs heretics too. Tap to choose, Wardle or Char Char Binks. Monster Squad Rush. I think we've crossed the line of influenced by. Did you, like, South Park Ben 10 and then put him through, like, a Clone Wars filter? Because I have no idea how you got this. What did they do to you, Blue? Blue Dog Bakery? More crunch. Large. Didn't realize, Blue had so many bones. I feel like I know this tank engine by the name of Thomas. Anyone else? If you must know, the green one is actually Percy. But yeah, this is a blatant ripoff. TikTok bar, 600 puffs. Elegant design, good taste, recommend. I don't understand what TikTok has to do with any of this. Track. It's not on wheels, it's just track. I'm sorry, I didn't watch Squid Game because it just seemed like a depressing concept. But I don't think a train was prominently featured. Like, what does this have to do? And also, have you ever heard of packaging? Trans boy. I mean, could be a trans boy. Nothing wrong with a trans boy dressing up as Bumblebee. Super true hero. No. You've just cloned people. Bat hero. A cape and eye mask. Well, I mean, to be fair, if your extent of a bat costume is just a cape and a mask, it'll do just fine. Canadian fried chicken. Or chlorofluorocarbons. Yummy. Twist and turn. You didn't need to reinvent Twister. It's a fairly simple game. It's the red eyes and eyebrows for me. Ooh. Oh, dear God. Oh, that's terrifying. Oh, please, never. God, can you imagine if that thing lit up? Imagine attaching that head to a nightlight? I should not be allowed near electronics. Also, just want to point out that the box says it's Forky and that they're running away. I think Woody just took over the box by force.
You know, ironically, I reckon this McDonald's has their food made with a bit more passion and care. Ah yes, that amazing movie with those two young freckled boys who have no facial hair whatsoever, Bob and his world. Everyone, a moment of silence for someone whose parents didn't properly research what a Nintendo Switch is and just grabbed the cheapest white and red box they found. But oh man, look at these crazy graphics! Considering this is all 2D pixel games, what the hell would classic be of these? Not to mention the eyeball. Is that the eyeball on his forehead? Wow. Looking for knickknacks or maybe a tasty treat? Well, why not drop on down to Walmart? I need a break. Oh, you need a Kit Kat? No. The all-new InPods 12. Honestly, I'm surprised they didn't just call them Land Pods or something more opposing to air. X Game 1, the alien system? Well, they've got the green down. Everything else, I mean, that looks like just some really cheap DVD player. No. No. No, why would you? No. Those 6 ratings are just 5 friends of theirs. Frozen statue at a park in Bangladesh. Okay, I know that Sven is sort of meant to be a dog in personality, but maybe don't make the deer genuinely look like a dog. Oh, fellas, we need a slogan for our cafe that, you know, shows that we're kind of hip and with the times and not so outdated after naming it Tom and Jerry. I know, let's say we have PS4. Jumbling towers. Because what's more stupid? Copying the dominant monopoly that is Jenga, or trying to copyright the very idea of just stacking things on top of each other. A transforming dinosaur robot toy my son got. So here's the dinosaur phase. Looks pretty normal, pretty good. Yeah, well done. Let's just transform him into... So the back of this robot, or even the back of its head, is basically this dinosaur's torn butthole. This Mother's Day, get your wife the most smexiest of lingerie by visiting Victomia's Sucker. Shh, it's a sucker. Can you keep a sucker? Oh wow, it's Ben 10's cousin, Ken 1. He's got no alien abilities, but he does have a tiny flashlight stuck in his arm. I imagine Ben 10's like, Ken, how did you defeat all the villains in one single battle? Yeah, it was easy. I just threatened to flash them. Oh. Yeah, it always freaks out adults for some reason. Ah, finally. Kinder Surprise has managed to successfully infiltrate the American Magadidit. See, children won't suffocate eating this because it's Lucky Egg, not Kinder. Oh, come on, man. At this point, what? I can't tell if it's the lighting or the fact this package looks extremely crumpled up like someone's just purposely shoved a Luigi in there instead. Only cool boys can wear this. Oh, okay, it took me a second to realize they're all Team Fortress 2 skins. You know what? I'm gonna give them props. They chose the right skins for these characters. Anyone want to eat goober chips? You honestly thought, with a brand name that just swaps the B and G around and sounds like booger, like, oh, that's a nice savory sound. No, you stupid fools. It's not Plants vs. Zombies, it's Flower Zombie War. This literally has an image of a real Oreo. With a name like that, I'm also half convinced these people were very high when they made their company. Yeah, I'll just put an Oreo on the front. They're not gonna notice. Completely original character.
I don't know who this Mickey is, but I sure reckon all those children found sacrificed at the theme parks. Well, that was just a misconception. But anyway, I hope they sure find him.
Who the boss? Ababash. I have no words. Oh my god. Who's that hero? Ow. Okay, what is this title? Oh no, we're running out of pants. We only have 9 pants. We just sold our 9th one. This is the job Tinky Winky is working in after the Teletubbies parted ways a few years ago. When the unnecessarily boobily breasted 2D waifus don't get enough sales, they resort to childhood nostalgia. I don't know if the brand has already been posted here, but it's an actual picture inside of my house. It kinda tastes like the actual Nutella though. Go Nut, the greatest thing to enjoy after school. Most people are pretty plain and enjoy Go Nut with some bread, but you can Go Nut with anything. Go Nut in your ice cream. Go Nut in some smoothies. Why not even bring some to school so you can Go Nut with your friends? I'll be waiting for this series on Disney Plus. Planet Warriors, muscle building blocks toys? No, puzzle building block toys. Okay. Bootleg Pokemon figure. It's the famous legendary Pokemon girlfriend reaching for your chippies after she said she wasn't hungry. Value pack pop station. Wow, I can buy a big device like that can play high quality games on something that is akin to a Nokia phone. And even though Nokias are literally smaller and more portable than this. Okay. Now see, this one isn't too ridiculous because at least the games it has are a bit more relevant to the quality this, Game Boys at the time had anyway. I mean, OG Game Boys could only play pixelated games in the first place anyway. This isn't really that much of a cheap copycat. I'm guessing it's one of those weirdo live shows featuring a bunch of stolen characters? What? Oh my god, I need to see this! Squid Game Wednesday and Puppy Playtime. I would honestly pay to see something this terribly done. No, oh my god, why did you name it that? There are so many things you could have named it. Like Sam the Spud or something else than this. Why is he naked? Prime? Nah, this is Fuel. Let's be real, it's got the exact same quality as Prime anyway. Please do take note of the people around you who actually purchase this stuff as if it's something of high quality. They're the people to keep track of when they make investment choices, so you make sure you go in the opposite direction. Way to improve the post box. Oh wow, this is a crossover event akin to Endgame. That's intense. Well, at least we know the consequences of turning fanfics into live theater. Well, if it isn't my favorite group at that famous pizzeria. What's it called, kids? Israel. This Razer mouse has 5G. Look, I wouldn't put it past some sort of Kickstarter crew out there trying to make a mouse that is phone capable. You've heard of Homeward Bound. Now get ready for Bound for Home. You don't care if it's a knockoff. If anything, that makes you more interested in watching it. The real NNN. I mean, in their defense, they clearly have more substance in their candies. I'd probably say they're better. Typical. The moment he becomes movie famous, he starts appearing in video games, and now he's in some sort of fruit commercial? Goodness, what a sellout. Okay, I'm going to skip over the fact this is a Lego knockoff. What are you trying to make with this pack here? Poop? It's like a pile of poop? With this toy Animal Crossing pack, you can have an electric rod and a of turning fanfics into live theater. Well, if it isn't my favorite group at that famous pizzeria. What's it called, kids? Israel. This Razer mouse has 5G. Look, I wouldn't put it past some sort of Kickstarter crew out there trying to make a mouse that is
level quickly returns to normal. Finally, X Adventures uses a remix by Serial, and for the most of it, this one feels the exact same, just with a less unique first cube. The ball is kind of funny though, because you had one job. Yeah, they left out a portal, making this part impossible, but it is normal after that. And there you have it, Geometry Light Old version. Why does this exist? It makes me feel violently uncomfortable, so thanks for that. It's a good thing I can still play normal Geometry Light on the homepage, right? Uh-oh. You see, when they released the old version, the old was referring to the fact that this is Geometry Light now. So really, they were doing us a favor by releasing this version, because I do not want to stare at that. Now, if you were paying really close attention, you might have noticed that this version of the game has a different menu compared to the one I showed earlier. And that's because this one has the new levels too, complete with their names and music. Interestingly enough, this one fixed a bunch of gameplay issues from old version, even though they were released at the same time. X-Step had its missing portal re-added, albeit upside down. The extra gameplay underneath cycles was cleared out, and another orb was added to base after base so you could get the first coin. And now I can properly say that it sucks, F tier. Alongside these changes, GD.io itself also went through a few tweaks at the time. For example, they changed their logo from this to this. In the corner of the site, they added a big box linking to GD old version. They changed the tab name from Geometry Dash to Geometry Light Dash the Rhythm. The game description was updated, which they do a lot, and finally, the disclaimer directly under the game was removed. It's almost like they were becoming increasingly paranoid about copyright or something. It's almost like Geometry-Dash.io got taken off of Google search due to a DMCA takedown from RobTop. one that was issued just a few days before they made all of these changes. But they got around the takedown by changing the homepage's link to geometry-io/light. It really should not be that easy, but apparently it is. Still, it was alarmingly clear that this website was now in panic mode. So much that they even paused adding new Scratch games for a little, when it was usually one every day or two. They cooked way too hard with Geometry Light, and now we're stuck with... ugh. So after that, they were chilling for a little while. Unsurprisingly, the game also updated on geometrylight.io because that's where the games are actually being hosted. Also, all the spin-offs like Meltdown, Sub-Zero, Spooky, and so on were completely unchanged. Eventually, about a month passed since this weird reskin was deployed, and that's when they made their next move, with a new game replacing this one, called Geometry Light. Yup, they did it again. To their credit, this is a much better reskin than the previous one. The textures are a lot more polished, and it looks a lot more Geometry Dash-like, which maybe they were trying to avoid at first. The levels themselves are the same edited versions of Stereo Dash through X Adventures, and thankfully the difficulty faces actually make sense now. We'll never forget you, Maurice. But what's new to this reskin is the fact that they changed a lot more of the in-game textures. The most obvious difference is probably the background and ground, but look closer and you'll see that all the blocks are just slightly different now. The default block uses a much uglier gray gradient that stays visible even when the background is black, and the other blocks just look kind of blurry. Also, your icon is this guy now. He's basically the face of Geometry Light as far as I'm concerned. You've also got this cool airplane ship and a pretty straightforward ball. As usual, you can't change your icon, and the ones behind the menu have just been taken out entirely. Interestingly enough, they also updated Sub-Zero to use this reskin, but every other spin-off was untouched. And even still, the unskinned version of Sub-Zero is still available on some websites, meaning they're still hosting both. In order for both versions to coexist, they have to be hosting both of them, but more on that later. There's really nothing interesting to share about Sub-Zero. All the levels and songs are unmodified, so really it's just new textures. We've got a few new goofy backgrounds for the levels, as well as a brand new icon set. Here's the cube, the ship, ball, robot, wave, and the spider. Finally, in late April, they updated Geometry Dash old version, or rather downgraded it back to the original Geometry Light. The original textures, songs, and levels. It really reminds me of a simpler time, when the Geometry Light lore looked like this, and not this. But that is where Geometry Light stands today. No more tricks, I promise. As of writing this video, if you check out Geometry Light, these are the games that you will see. Just go in with an ad blocker because I still don't think they deserve to profit off this. But of course, you should know by now that that's not the end of the story, because on April 1st, 2024, they hit us with one final blow. Remember how I said that there was another Scratch Geometry Dash game that wasn't a remix of the one by Griff Patch? This one, Egg Dash by Chipmunk. It's basically just Geometry Dash, but you're an egg. This game came out 4 months before the original Spooky Dash did, and Spooky Dash is technically a reskin of this one. But the levels are completely different, and this time there's 3 of them. Once again, they're all 1.0 styled and actually really good. Like with Spooky, this game was sitting on geometry-io for a long time, and it seems like at some point, whoever made Geometry Light realized that it's a prime target to steal from. Likely because it's not a real Geometry Dash game, so there wouldn't be any copyright issues. It also perfectly lined up with Easter, which continued the trend of them stealing Scratch projects for certain holidays. And that brings us to their version of Egg Dash, which you'll immediately notice uses the exact same reskin as Geometry Light, unlike the Scratch-themed one that was made for Spooky and Xmas Dash. But similar to those games, it only had one level, Shell Shock, which was also the name of the real Egg Dash's first level. Now, here's what the level looks like in the original game. And here's what their stolen version looks like. Wait, this is not the same level. The gameplay is completely different. The song is Heartbeat by Coldbreaks, credited by the way, and there's little decorations like flowers, these flags, and even... Yeah, you can't make this up. They used Easter Island heads as a decoration for their Easter game. And honestly, I respect it. But what shocked me the most is how good this level is. This is some of the most fun 1.0 styled gameplay I've played in a long time, and it even makes me a little sad to think that you never see levels like this in actual Geometry Dash anymore. The gameplay doesn't exactly do anything memorable, but it's still really enjoyable in the moment. There's 0 unfair jumps, and I'd put it at around the same difficulty as Back on Track. It also properly syncs with background changes and jumps that really complement the music. If you're wondering about the coins, this game doesn't have any, because it has cupcakes. The first one is in a wall in the ship part, and it kind of plays out like that one in Base After Base. The second one requires you to fly up in this ship section, and for the last one, you just need to hit this orb to reach an upper area that recovers with a pretty blind jump. They're all like D tiers, but they still have lots of charm. Oh, and one last thing. This is an XL level spanning the entire song, which is 2 minutes and 40 seconds. There aren't any major choke points aside from this unnerved triple spike about halfway in, but still, to make things less frustrating, they added an interesting new checkpoint system. Throughout the level, there's a ton of invisible checkpoints, and when you die, you can watch an ad to respawn at one. And yes, using these still counts as a legitimate completion. But is it really legitimate in your heart? So when I saw this level for the first time, there was one huge thought on my mind. This is a fantastic level. Who did they steal it from? It is way too good of a level to come from the same people who gave us Xmas Dash. So I looked everywhere, Geometry Dash, Scratch, but this level, a 3-minute 1.0 RobTop styled layout of Heartbeat, simply did not exist. They made it. And that right there was my breaking point. It was exactly when I realized that I wanted to investigate every last secret Geometry Light was holding. Who are these people? How are they making these games? And why? But where would I even start? These are Unity games. It's not like I could just open up the game files. Unity encrypts all that stuff really well, and even better when it's a web game. There was really nothing I could do. Just kidding, here it is decompiled and open in the Unity editor. Obviously I don't have access to any of the game's code, but I do have all the assets as well as the actual levels. And what shocked me more than anything is that these levels use actual Geometry Dash triggers. They've got color triggers with all the settings like copy color and blending. Also, for some reason this ship part, and nowhere else in the game, uses pulse triggers. Why would they go through the effort of implementing that just for a tiny section of the level? The rest of the level has pulses, but they do it with background triggers. Maybe the level was made by multiple people? Also look, here's all the invisible checkpoints in the level. Overall, the whole Unity scene is laid out in a way that looks a lot like this was ported over from some other program. You could tell they definitely didn't build the level right from Unity, but there's no saying for sure if it was built in Geometry Dash, especially when you factor in these decorations. Anyways, my first order of business was to write some code that takes every object in this level and prints its texture and coordinates to a file. Then I took each texture and mapped it to an object in Geometry Dash. For example, this block is named 2square01, and I mapped it to the default block, which is object ID 1. A little more coding later, and there you have it, a perfect port of Shellshock in real Geometry Dash. This isn't a recreation, this is one-to-one. I didn't place any of these blocks in the editor. It is worth noting that I replaced the Moai statues with pulsing rods because how would I even go at making this in Geometry Dash? Anyways, here's the ID if you want to play it. It would be kind of funny if it got raided, but I'll leave that decision to some rogue mod. Also, what's great about having this code is that now I could do the exact same thing for Spooky Dash and Xmas Dash. I debated porting all of the modified RobTop levels, but it felt kind of boring compared to the fully original one, so I passed. At this point, I sort of just became mad with power, because then I started using this code to port over other games as well. If you know my Geometry Dash copies series, you might remember this one game that kept showing up. Sometimes it's Mario themed, sometimes it's Rabbit themed, but it's always the same 4 levels. This one was made in a different engine, and the level data was a lot more complicated than Unity, but after making a program to render the levels in my browser, I somehow got it working. Never underestimate the power of a hyper-fixated programmer. Anyways, you can play all these levels on the Rob's Basement account. I've been continuing to port levels from other rip-off games like Preamble from GeoJump, so feel free to check it out and look at the level descriptions for further context. Right now I'm pretty close to porting over that Bloodbath recreation, but I've been running into some weird issues, so it's on the back burner for now. So anyways, now that I had this game decompiled, I could finally dig deeper and uncover all the secrets that Geometry Light was holding. Let me just get the real Egg Dash open as a reference and... wait. Why is it called Egg Zone now? No, don't do this to me. Yeah, so a few weeks later, they added 2 more levels and renamed Shellshock to Egg Zone. And yes, the game did have a coming soon screen, but as a Geometry Dash player, I never thought I'd see the day where it wasn't a lie. The 2 new levels are called Yoki Joys and Howl Haven, and both claim to be easy 1-star, just like the first one. I also have no idea what those names are supposed to mean. Real Egg Dash used puns like Shellshock, Egg Static, and Cracked Up. What the hell is Howl Haven? And what's the deal with Yoki Joys? And why is Shellshock called Egg Zone now? So anyways, level 2 is also really solid, just like the first one. It's the exact same style of gameplay and decoration, but I'd put this one at around Jumper's difficulty since it introduces gravity changes for both the cube, or egg, and the ship. The song for this one is a remix of Pneumatic Tokyo by Envy made by Hallett. The song isn't credited, but when Hallett found out about this, they were kind of honored to have their song used, which is a really respectable attitude to have. At least it's not stuck in a game like Xmas-Dash. One of the more interesting things I noticed about this level is that the checkpoints are visible now, unlike in level 1, where they're still hidden even after the update. Like I said, the level plays really well, and I would even say that's a little more interesting than the first one. However, it's a lot shorter, clocking in at a minute 45, which is still longer than any RobTop level so far. The final quarter of the level has some really heavy impossible game / base after base energy, and it's probably the weakest part in my opinion. But otherwise, it's good. At least, until we get the coins involved. First coin, fly through this pillar while upside down. It's like a fairer version of Jumper's coin. I'll take it. B- maybe? Second coin, literally impossible to miss. And the third coin, literally impossible to miss. They probably didn't know where to put these 2 coins, but at the very least, couldn't you have taken 30 seconds out of your day to at least pretend you tried? This is embarrassing. Level 3 immediately kicks off with a bunch of triple spikes, which gives it some pretty heavy Time Machine vibes. The song for this one is Distorted Sakura by Ectobot, which was heavily inspired by Shinto by Envy. I don't know why they have a sudden obsession for Envy remixes, but they go pretty hard, so who am I to complain? This level probably has the least to say about it. The gameplay is just harder, and many of the jumps are much more tight. It doesn't feel nearly as tested as the others, and has quite a few areas where early jumps or orb hits will unfairly kill you. This level's also about a minute 45, and for some reason it ends by suddenly switching to X-Step's visual style. And then it spells out Egg Pop with blocks, which I have no idea what that means. So yeah, I ported these levels over to Geometry Dash as well, and they play exactly the same, but I think the yellow orb physics are slightly different because there's this one orb in Howlhaven you have to delay a lot more. I decided to keep the checkpoints invisible, but they're in the editor if you really care. I highly doubt that these levels are stolen, but there's clearly a lot of RobTop influence, like Jumper in this part and Time Machine over here. My theory is that they were made by multiple people. This is the only spot in the game that uses pulse triggers, level 2 uses 2 red pads at the start, then never again, level 1 has a single gravity change that seems to stitch 2 parts together, and there's many spots where the style of the level takes a complete 180. There's probably more details I'm missing, but I'll leave it for someone else to look further into. Now here's the funny part. When I was porting over these levels, I found a 4th unused level called Cracked Up, and it was completely finished. And this was a crazy find, because the level is exactly the same as Yoki Joy's, just extended to span the entire 4-minute song. We're talking a full XXL Egg Dash level, and it is hard. Obviously the first half is exactly the same, but once you reach the new gameplay, it quickly jumps up to like map pack difficulty. It's still surprisingly sight readable, but pretty much every death past this point is going to be due to some kind of bug. Jump too early, you're screwed. Jump too late, you're screwed. Hit an orb wrong, you're mega screwed. It doesn't look that hard on video, but trust me, there's a lot of spots with really unforgiving timings. Case in point. Just a reminder that this level is 4 minutes long. I did eventually beat this level after like 20-90% deaths and many more rage quits, and I definitely say this is a demon, but like a long nerve control one. And if you don't believe me, here's the ID, go ahead and try it, or give it to someone you hate. When I realized that this was an extension of level 2, it made me wonder if that level had such lazy coins because it was after they cut it down. And sure enough, the 2 free coins were relocated, but they still weren't great. Coin 2 is basically free, and coin 3 is literally free, so clearly they've learned nothing. Anyways, if you want to see all 4 of the Egg Dash levels in their entirety, I've uploaded a showcase to my second channel, and the link will be in the description. Alright, welcome to the spicy part of the video, because now that you're familiar with all the Geometry Light games, it's time to look inside and see all the things they don't want you to see, and trust me, there was a lot. Let's start off with Egg Dash, where despite playing as an egg, the game has every single 2.1 icon in the game files. This actually applies to every Geometry Light game, but they only seem to get used for the menu. These are the only 2 icons actually used in Egg Dash, and there's another unused set to go along with it. The game has 9 different backgrounds, 4 of which are brand new, and the other 5 come right from GD. This is the only one that actually gets used. But weirdly enough, the backgrounds folder also contains an image called screenshot1.png, which looks like this. It's a cropped image of the actual GD editor, but it was taken in 2.1 based on the lack of the warp tool. And the reason I find it interesting is because this is from the level Viking Arena by RobTop, but all the monsters on this wall have been removed. You can see that I'm at the exact spot they took the screenshot. But above all else, it shows that they know how to open a RobTop level in the editor, even if it means just finding a copyable version. But if you look up Viking Arena copy in GD, virtually every single result is this fan-made recreation that's straight up wrong. And if most GD players don't notice that, I can guarantee that they wouldn't either. So either they somehow realized it was wrong and looked for an actual copy, or they just took it from the game files. But it takes some pretty deep knowledge to know how to port those into your saved levels. Either way, it's really suspicious. Heading over to the first version of regular Geometry Light, there's a few more screenshots lying around, like a really poorly photoshopped mock-up of their settings menu. There's also a shot of them getting 3% on Stereo Madness, and another of them beating it in practice mode after 85 attempts. And it makes me wonder if they're actually qualified to be remaking this game. Alongside those screenshots, we have the textures for every single object up to 2.1, and like icons, this is also the case with most Geometry Light games. This folder is an interesting one because all of the icon kit buttons here use the exact same file names as the ones on my online icon kit website. And while this could be a coincidence, the fact that they also grabbed the site's shuffle button says otherwise. Wait, does that make me part of the problem? But most damning of all is this folder called UI Sun Lamb, with a whole lot of unique textures that just so happen to perfectly match that older Geometry Dash clone, which I called a prototype. So I think this pretty much confirms that they're connected. But what about the folder name? Well, Sun Lam seems to be a Vietnamese name. It's not enough info to track down a specific person, but it could hint at where these games are being made. Finally, and most importantly, the levels aren't just recreations of RobTop levels, they're direct rips. Every object and every trigger is in the exact same place, and this also extends over to Geometry World, including the move triggers, as well as Geometry Meltdown, though there's a couple of details missing. I kind of like how World's move trigger code had no easing, but Meltdown's did, because it showed that they implemented whatever they needed as they went on. The game files for the reskins are especially interesting to me because they have a lot of unreleased UI images. For example, that first reskin they made, we can see a new icon and background that never made the cut. We can also see what the stats menu would have looked like, and even the icon kit, though these are most likely concept images and not screenshots from the actual game. Also, that shop sign isn't for decoration, there's a shop mock-up too, and I can only imagine what they were smoking when they approved this. Surely enough, the newer reskin has even more screenshots. Here we can see an unused version of the level select, which later became this. You'll also notice Stereo Madness has its normal name, and that they got 52% in practice move. They also cleaned up the shop design a little bit, and added a dollar store version of my icon. But there's actually two more unused icons in the files. One is this guy, and the other is both terrifying and extremely based. On top of that, here's 5 backgrounds they made, and a collection of difficulty faces, the last of which never made the cut. Sadly, the previous reskin didn't even bother with one. Finally, we have Geometry Sub-Zero, where the levels were built in a completely different way. The triggers are squares now, and nothing matches up with real Geometry Dash at all. So it looks a lot like these ones were made by hand. Like the others, this game also had a few screenshots left in. And by a few, I mean 164. The vast majority of them are just low-quality YouTube screenshots, which they probably referenced when building the levels. For Press Start, they were watching every Geometry Dash level with coins, but switched over to Nexus's Sub-Zero video halfway through. Then for Knock'em, there's a single screenshot of Guitar Showcase, but not even 1% in, they switched to Nexus. There's no screenshots for Power Trip, but the randomized messages that appear in Nexus's video are the exact ones they used in their version of the level, and I'm sure it's not a coincidence. This leaves us with 7 remaining screenshots, which look like they're from the main game, but something is clearly off. The menu says Geometry Dash Full, and the corner holds 2 GitHub links. The level select says Stereo Madness Full, as well as Knock'em Full, and this screen has at least 30 levels. Attempts are called tries, and the checkpoints are blue again. At first I thought this was some ultimate Geometry Light game they were trying to make, but the real giveaway was this screenshot where the attempt count isn't perfectly centered. You see, you can easily change Geometry Dash's text by opening the exe in a hex editor, or anything really, and just searching for the messages. But since these are bytes of a carefully compiled game, you can only change letters because adding or removing them would shift the wrong data into every address of the game. And here, it looks a lot like they changed the string attempt blank to try blank followed by 4 spaces, so it's the same length. You know, the spaces that would go right here. Long story short, this is clearly some crudely edited version of real Geometry Dash, but how could I get my hands on it? It was literally just sitting on GitHub and they definitely didn't make it. Yeah, so this is Geometry Dash Full, a weird edit of 2.1 that contains a full version of every main level. I'm not sure how they found this or why they even used it considering the Sub-Zero levels are just 2.1 recreations, but this might explain why their version of the game calls all the levels full. And yeah, you can see it's got the blue checkpoints and tries and everything. All of the edits in this game are hilarious. Like the editor button is removed, but all they did was make the texture invisible. There's also a bonus level called Relax Level 2, which is just... nope. That about wraps up all the interesting stuff I found in the game files, but it turns out that the real juicy stuff was outside. Remember how I said that all these games are hosted on geometrylight.io and how other websites just hook up to it? That way they automatically update and don't need to host it themselves. Well, believe it or not, these games aren't actually hosted on geometrylight.io. They're hosted on geometrylight.github.io. GitHub is a website where you can publish and manage code, and github.io allows you to host a little website. So all I did was go to Geometry Light's GitHub account, and lo and behold, a master repository of all their games. Unfortunately, they've already been compiled, so you can't see any code. They're basically just using this as a free host for their games. Now, I fully understand that by drawing attention to this repository, they're probably going to take it down shortly after this video releases, but really, it was a matter of time anyways. On the bright side, you know what's cool about GitHub? You can easily see a log of every change they've ever made, allowing me to monitor whenever they release a new version. And you know what's even cooler? You can view the full history and download every old or changed file. So what do you do when you have this massive collection of Geometry Light games with over 100 updates that you could just download? Obviously, you go through all of them, downloading every version of every game they've ever uploaded here. So if you're wondering how I was showing all those old versions over the course of this video, well, it's because I spent the afternoon making an archive of the 80 plus versions I could get my hands on. It's probably not something I'm going to release, mainly because it's super hacked together. If you're wondering why there's 5 versions of Light, they represent the different reskins as well as if they use the new levels or not. Weirdly enough, there were 6 updates for GeoJump, which was that older game, meaning that they were still maintaining it to some degree. But all they really did was rearrange the menu and add a more games button. Also, the other Unity versions like Breeze seem to rely on some extra code because the icon kit shows up like this, and the play button... yeah, that's not right. One last thing to note is that these games try really hard to prevent you from just downloading and playing them. That way, competitors can't steal and profit off them. If the game detects that you're on an unauthorized website, it immediately redirects you to Geometry Light. But I think they forgot that you can bypass this with one line of code, the one that makes the "Are you sure you want to leave this site" pop up here. Just press no and you're good. They did add a better security measure in newer versions, but we'll get to it later. So by now, I already had pages and pages of notes on Geometry Light. This game was consuming my life, and I would lie awake at night wondering where I could find more answers. And it felt like every time I tried to leave it behind, that's when I would find my next big clue. It was quite literally dragging me back. But surely it doesn't go deeper, right? Hey, so did you know that the loading screen for every Geometry Light game says onegames.io? In the actual game, it links to geometrylight.io, but that game exclusively holds Geometry Light stuff, and One Games has a bit of everything. It's just your average free games website advertised as the best one with no interruptions or microtransactions, probably because the product is you. Also, if you remember from before, Xmas-Dash's Free Games Online website also redirects to here. Speaking of Xmas-Dash, when they added it to the GitHub, they also added a game called Santa Run, which is still in the repository. It's just a weird Christmas Subway Surfers ripoff that has nothing to do with Geometry Dash. And when you look at that, there it is on One Games, right next to Blue Mushroom Cat Run, which is the same game reskinned to... I don't even want to say it. Overall, this is really weird, because GeometryDash.io is connected to Geometry Light, but now Geometry Light is connected to One Games. So are all these websites by the same people? I decided to check out the other games they offer, and fortunately they made it pretty easy to tell which ones are made by them and which ones are just random hosted games. For example, one game they made is Stick Run, and look at those moves. This is a completely original game concept that's never been seen before. Here's another game called Gorilla Adventure. In this game you control a gorilla that has to get over... Oh, I see where this is going. What about FNF Music 3D?
1, 2, 3, go!
Okay, that's enough research for today. As you'd probably expect, the rest of their games just continue this pattern of being garbage. But I did notice that a lot of them start with a play button like this, and it usually means it's hosted on a different website. And sure enough, inspecting the page shows that it's from html5gamedistribution.com, which is a huge collection of web games that they probably uploaded these to. A little bit of searching later, and I found all of their games under the name GM Media. Well, all the ones they uploaded here. Notably GeoJump, Egg Dash, Xmas Dash, and obviously Gorilla Adventure. I knew I was onto something because back when I loaded the games up in Unity, the company name was always set to GM Soft. So Geometry Light, One Games, GM Media. Googling GM Media gives you nothing valuable, so I tried GM Media Geometry Dash and it led me to a LinkedIn page for Light Version Geometry Dash, who was a game developer at GM Media. This was huge. It meant that I found them. But little did I know, I just entered the labyrinth. The first thing I noticed about this profile is that the GM Media they listed was just some regular unrelated company. It also said that they were from Pennsylvania, and while they definitely had a Geometry Light banner, the profile photo was from the game Retro Bowl. The only other thing on the page was a link to another fake Geometry Dash website as well as a Reddit and Twitch account. The website's homepage used to be Geometry Light, but as of right now it's been changed to the older game. Actually, quick update, it's the other Unity game now without the Geometry Light watermark. Aside from that, it's just another Geometry Dash site filled with stolen Scratch projects and other random stuff. So next I checked their Twitch. Their account was empty, but it did have a bio. Geometry Dash Light, where geometry meets rhythm. Feel the burn and meltdown, explore global beats and world, and brave icy hurdles in Sub-Zero. To my surprise, this one linked to even more websites, like Behance, which had the same bio, and 5 more websites. So naturally I checked out their DeviantArt, which linked me to their Vimeo, which linked me to whatever issue is, which linked me to Twitter, and finally we reached a dead end. But obviously this branches out so much further. How much further, you ask? You're probably wondering, what kind of crazy person would map out every account they've made and where they link to? And to that I say, after everything you've seen in this video, do you really think I'm sane? In total, they've made accounts on about 70 websites, and it's very obviously for search engine manipulation, because if Google sees a bunch of people talking about this website, it will show up higher in search. Ironically, it doesn't even show up, so maybe it got banned or something. If you want to check out the full graph I made, the link is in the description. Question is, did Geometry Light make this link farm, or was it just by whoever made this website? Well, maybe the links themselves would have some answers. First off, pretty much every account was made on January 23rd or 24th of this year. Nothing particularly eventful happened then, other than Geometry Sub-Zero getting Power Trip a few days earlier, and the first reskin being released a week later. On chess.com, yes, they have a chess account, it shows that they're from Vietnam, but they chose some address in Pennsylvania that doesn't even exist. Meanwhile, Vimeo claims that they're from, I hope I pronounced this right, Houston, Hoa Kỳ, which is the Vietnamese word for USA. And Freelancer.com straight up says they're from Vietnam, offering to work for $2 an hour. This all seems to suggest that, yeah, the whole Geometry Light operation comes from Vietnam. We also had that name in the game files, and the time zone even matches up with when they use GitHub. Also, if you're wondering about the Retro Bowl profile picture, that's because some of the accounts link to retrobowlonline.io, where you can play Retro Bowl online. This site also seems to have its own link farm, but I'm guessing they began switching some sites over to promote Geometry Dash instead. Speaking of that, you might have noticed that they often use the name Geometry Dash Lite 68, and if you're wondering why they have the 68, well, it's because geometry-dash.ee's link farm stole all the good names. So at this point, I felt kind of stuck. Yes, I found something funny, but it doesn't help with the Geometry Light mystery at all, and it also doesn't help that ever since Egg Dash, nothing new has happened. In late April, they updated all the games to have some advertising and security tweaks, but that was about it. GeometryLight.io has been untouched for months, and still doesn't even show Egg Dash, and GeometryDash.io just went back to adding a couple of scratch games every day. So, was Geometry Light dead? Were they moving on to Guerrilla Adventure or something? We still never got the icon kit, or shop, or anything like that. Not even Clutterfunk for that matter. This whole time, one of my biggest questions was how you actually make a fake Geometry Dash site. Because they all look the same, work the same, and even run the same code behind the scenes. And the same goes for all of the non-Geometry Dash websites as well. It's pretty obvious that they're all built off the same template, but then where do you find it? Maybe it's on some market on the dark web? Either way, I could find no info on this. It seemed like nobody on the internet has even asked this question before. So does that make me the crazy one? Am I the only one who's ever questioned this? Surely I could find at least part of an answer. With nothing left to dig into, I decided to check out those recent updates they launched. To the average player, the only difference was the version number. But really, they switched to a newer Unity version and even exported the games in a slightly different way. And above all else, now when you play them on an unauthorized website, it just deletes the entire page and replaces it with a link to Geometry Light. And the way they do it is super simple. Inside the game's code is a line that checks the website you're currently on, and it sends that info over to onegames.io. Once it's sent over, OneGames will send back some settings based on the website you're on. Conveniently, I'd already gathered a master list of all the fake Geometry Dash websites I've come across, so I decided to write a program that sends each URL to OneGames to see what it sends back, and if I could find any patterns. And let me tell you, I struck gold. What I learned is that every website can be in one of three states. The most common state is neutral. This means that you can embed the game, which means putting it in a little box which loads the game from geometrylight.io. But what you can't do is host it, as in download the files off GitHub, put them on your own site, and then load from there. Because if you do that, you could just stay on one version and never update. Neutral is the default for all websites, so the only time it won't work like that is when someone at OneGames manually changes it. The second state is verified, and it's most likely given to websites that OneGames either owns or just made a deal with. Verified websites are allowed to host games, though they usually embed from Geometry Light anyways. They also probably get some special stuff related to ads, but I haven't really looked into it. This state interests me a lot because you can't really contact these scam game websites. All the emails are fake, and anything you send is instantly trashed, so the only way to get verified is if you're in the underground business along with them. Some of the verified websites include OneGames, Geometry-.io, GeometryLight.io, Geometry Game, which appears really high on Google right now, Geometry Free, Geometry-World, and a few other websites that all use Geometry Light games. On the opposite end, the third and final state is blocked. These are websites that cannot use their games under any circumstances, and my guess is that they give it to other competitors who aren't worthy of Geometry Light's power. However, I could only find 5 websites in this state. The first two are Geometry-PC and Geometry-3D. They're probably just competitors, so both of them took the L and have to go back to hosting the Scratch game. The third one is Geometry-Light.gg. Yes, the same one with that massive link farm. I thought this one was owned by Geometry Light, but no, they're actually blocked. And that's probably why they used to run Geometry Light, but randomly switched to this version one day. Maybe even OneGames got sick of their aggressive marketing. The fourth site is Free Games Online, which just redirects to OneGames now, so maybe this was their way of disabling the old site. And finally, the last blocked one is Merge Fruit, which seems to be ripping off the watermelon game, so maybe they just have beef or something. This is all to say that out of the 30 or so fake Geometry Dash websites you can still find on Google, 3 are blocked from using Geometry Light, 10 are either owned by or affiliated with the creators of it, and the rest are free to embed it, which pretty much every site is doing now. But one thing that really confused me was that most of the verified websites had an ID attached to them, and a lot of them were even the same. So I decided to look up what these IDs might actually represent, and oh my god, they're AdSense IDs! And if multiple websites share the same ID, it it means that all the money those sites are making is going to the same account. Now, GD.io and Geometry Free both had their own IDs, but these 5 websites, which include Geometry Light, all shared one. I knew I had to look further into this. After all, pretty much every Geometry Dash website has a public AdSense ID that you could just search up. And better yet, there's tools where you can plug in one AdSense ID and see all the other websites that use them. For example, if we plug in the ID that Geometry Light used, we can see that... No way! These guys own SkibbityToilet.io! And you know, like 40 other fake game websites? Next I tried Geometry-IO's ID, and boom, a dozen more, 3 of which were verified by OneGames. And this pattern continued until I had a list of 200 websites across just 10 AdSense accounts. It's all connected. These aren't just fake game websites that anyone can buy and host, it's a huge network controlled by one master group, probably somewhere in Vietnam, which we know from existing evidence and the fact that Geometry-IO literally has its AdSense currency set to Vietnam's. Using this master list of websites, I was able to make a lot of really interesting connections. For example, remember how the site with the link farm is blocked from Geometry Light? Well, that shares an ID with this website, which is also blocked. And before the link farm was for Geometry Dash, it pointed to Retro Bowl Online, which shares an ID with this website, which is also blocked. And finally, to top it all off, Geometry-IO had an extra tag in its source code, which was only shared with one other location, OneGames, finally confirming that yes, they've always been connected. So with all this newfound information, let's go over the remaining mysteries. Question 1. Does GM Media own Geometry-IO? Well, all the evidence seems to say yes. They made Geometry Light for their own websites, so that unlike Scratch, they would have full control over the game they're hosting. Question 2. Does GM Media own those other Unity versions of Geometry Dash? Actually, we don't know this for sure. Even though there do exist 2 versions with their watermark, most sites don't run those ones. And there's still a lot of sites running the other versions like Meltdown and Bloodbath, and they don't share IDs with any websites tied to Geometry Light, except for Slopeball, which is more of an anomaly. And let's not forget that they were developed at the same time with almost 0 overlapping code. So it looks like the answer is no, but I bet they work for the same group and maybe even teamed up. However, one very interesting thing I found at the last minute was that Slopeball appears on HTML5 game distribution under a company named Greenlight, and they actually have 3 more Geometry Dash games, all of which are reskins of, you guessed it, the Unity games, unlike Slopeball, which comes from GeoJump. It's actually pretty cool seeing how they rearranged the menus to be less of a blatant copy, and iconic details like the fire trail and progress bar make a return. Sub-Zero is still the weird extended version of the level that uses Geometrical Dominator, and their third game, Avatar Game, is an Avatar-themed reskin of Light that only goes up to Polargeist. And yes, it still controls like the cube. It even has its own dedicated website, which doesn't have an AdSense ID but does follow the same styling as all the other Unity websites and Slopeball. This is all to say that even though this company is mostly connected to the Unity games, they did tamper with GeoJump as well, which GM Media made. So while I still believe these games have different developers, maybe they're comfortable sharing them around with one another. Question 3. What's the deal with the link farm? This one's easy. Geometry-Light.gg wanted more clicks, so they made a pretty extreme move that ultimately backfired. We still don't know if they're actually involved with GM Media, so that's left as a maybe. Question 4. How do you make a fake game website? It seems like this is an underground business run by one big group in Vietnam. There's probably some secret ways to join in, just like how there's ways to become a tech support scammer. Question 5. Were the Geometry Light levels built in the actual editor? Again, the way they appear in Unity makes it clear that the levels were definitely imported from somewhere and definitely not built by hand. Looking at Light, World, and Meltdown, these were almost definitely ripped from the game because even small things like the triggers and spike decorations are in the right place. And we know they've opened RobTop levels in the editor before because of that one screenshot. On the other hand, the Sub-Zero levels don't even come close and were probably too complicated to port over from the real thing. For the non-RobTop levels like Spooky and Egg Dash, it's definitely weird that they have these little decorations, but they could have easily been added last. Though I don't think they were made in the editor because of one very subtle difference. These little pulsing rods are at a slightly different Y position compared to if you placed them in the real GD editor. So I personally believe that they were made in a different grid-based editor and not Geometry Dash's, but they definitely have the technology to port it, so maybe I'm just overthinking this and they use the real editor. And finally, question number 6. Who made Geometry Light? Well, we actually have no idea, and probably won't ever know. The number one rule for these websites is to be as secret as possible. Nobody can get in contact, and nobody can know who's involved. And the same applies to the games that they make. So the best info we have is that it's someone, maybe multiple people, in a mysterious shady company known as GM Media. Sometimes they steal levels, sometimes they rearrange them, and sometimes they even build their own and do a fantastic job at it. But to the creator of these games, if you're somehow watching this, whoever you are, just know that you're way too overqualified to be working on these weird scam games, and I would love to see you pursue a game design career with less crime. Heck, maybe you could even score some creator points in the actual GD editor. But for now, you managed to make something that's both incredible and very concerning to say the least. You've consumed several months of my life, kept me up at night countless times, and pulled me down a rabbit hole deeper than anything I've ever seen before. There was a period of my life where this version of Geometry Dash was more real to me than the actual game. And as much as I fear you, I also kind of want to thank you. Because just like me, you're crazy, and I respect that. Something tells me that immediately after I post this video, a lot is going to change. And I'm ready for that, because it feels like the only way to push this story forward. I was originally gonna wait another month or two, but this has been building up inside of me for a while now, and whenever someone asks what I've been trying to solve, I don't even know where to begin. When researching this, I would find new information pretty much every day, and I'm sure there's still more to uncover. So if I find anything else, I'll leave it in the pinned comment, or maybe even make a whole other video. But for now, this marks the end of the story of Geometry Light and all of those other weird websites. One Games has clearly moved on to other stuff, and damn it, it's time that I do as well. Actually, what are they doing now? Wait, there's a third website with the tag they had. GorillaAdventure.io? Buy now on Steam? Dude, they just dropped Gorilla Adventure on Steam! It's still just a shameless getting over it clone that you can play on their website for free, but damn, the Gorilla Adventure lore goes crazy! This is it. This is what the video has been building up to. All that Geometry Light stuff, it was just to prepare you for this masterpiece of a game. If you made it through this whole video, that's kind of terrifying, but also, thank you. Hope you enjoyed my descent into madness, subscribe for more stuff like this, avoid playing Geometry Light without an ad blocker if you can, and honestly, the next time you're looking for a good online Geometry Dash game, maybe just stick to Scratch.
What? 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 How's you doing? What in the loud house are 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 you doing?
Huh?
I came here to let you know what day. Came here to you. To let you know what day is coming. Which day is coming? Which day are you doing? I came here to let you know what day is coming. Which day? No day is coming. Which which day is coming? Which day are you doing? I came here to let you know what day is coming. Which day are you doing? I came here to let you know what day is coming. Which day?
Kill me with pleasure, Teen Titans Go!
How can you excuse this frame in any cartoon? Children's cartoon or not, how can you excuse this kind of look? This kind of race, elder shed.
Boys, all I really want is boys. I want them to treat me like a toy.
This guy, Ben the Looney, is someone that me and my friends used to make fun of, just like in group chats and stuff, because we thought it was so funny. Oh, is this channel not up anymore? Is this a new channel? Puffy Zilla Man? Yeah, we used to just make fun of him because we thought he was really funny. Ben rants, push back against LGBTQ+ rights. And there was this fake meme going around for a while that was like, Ben rants, black people, which was pretty crazy, but it wasn't an actual post from him. But he was also a Shadman fan, so people had a problem with that, obviously. That makes sense. But yeah, one of the best chatters, okay? One of the best chatters making some of the best content from chat, in my opinion. Major shout out to Jormy. Major shout out. Sub to him if you're not already.
The more artistic side of YouTube is an exceedingly diverse place when it comes to the different types of content present within it. If you're looking to become a content creator as someone who is artistically inclined, you have nearly endless directions in which you...
Why? Why am I here? Why am I the other path? Why did I have to be here? Why?
Go. You could become an animator and tell stories through characters or stylized avatars. You could join the art commentary community, editing voiceovers over your art and giving input.
Don't do that. Don't join the art commentary community. If there's any community you're gonna join, just don't make it that one. Be a VTuber before you're an art commentator, please. Please.
You could post tutorials and spread your artistic knowledge to the world. You could even make rant videos about how attractive you find kids show characters, platform degenerates who draw NSFW.
Yeah, great idea.
On real children, and overall submit yourself to YouTube's most infamous and prolific gooners. You could do that. You probably shouldn't.
Time to talk about the best artists the internet has to offer. And oh boy, might as well get the controversial one out of the way here. In an era where freedom of speech is taken for granted and everyone is offended by everything, one internet artist looks at that and says, hey, can't we all just jerk off?
That freedom of speech. Major freedom of speech moment for Shadman. That was a major freedom of speech moment right there, bro. Can we all just jerk off? Can we all just jerk off, guys?
What?
Ben Louie's a pedophile on Twitter who draws underage characters.
Oh no. I mean, it's not as bad as Lolly, but now Ben wants to defend that, so we explain why Ben's full of shit and a complete...
Well, I might lose a lot of subs and friends for what I'm about to say.
Martyr.
In this for the
free speech moment.
I don't see a problem with Lolicon.
Why that drawing? Adolf Hitler artist spotlight? That's not real.
Knick-knack was here.
If he did do that, that's hilarious. Artist spotlight, Ben the Looney. Did he make that? This is a real video?
To you, I'm gonna bring back my critically acclaimed artist spotlight.
Why did you have to use that
series
as your avatar?
And today,
comments are turned off. Why does it have to be your avatar, Ben?
We have a very obscure artist all the way from Austria in the early 1900s, whose art has been lost to time. Let me present to you the wonderful artwork of Adolf Hitler. Like all good artists, Hitler started out from humble beginnings, copying the popular style at the time, but eventually branched out and found his groove. Mostly drawing landscapes and castles that looked beautiful. Holy free holy. Throw some naked girls in these pieces and you have one fine artist.
I think we've probably seen as much as we need to see from that video, but yeah, this guy's pretty special. You can see why. I think I did watch that video at some point, but I forgot it existed. This guy used to be one of the most legendary personal lolcows that me and my friends had. We would just laugh at him alone on Discord. We thought it was so funny. McDonald's customers.
Hey folks, Ben the Looney here. So in my last video, I said that I'd talk about my work experience at McDonald's soon. Well, it's soon. I'll start off by saying,
bro, this guy was ahead of the curve. He was doing Odd Ones Out videos in 2016 before it was cool. He pioneered the storytime animation community. He pioneered it. Holy free holy. This guy's so autistic. He is.
People
Mitch, are you okay?
To try to defend these disgusting perverts who draw CP. Let's all call it what it really fucking is.
And not since Jenny Wakeman have I wanted to bone a robot so badly. Did DeviantArt make this show?
YouTube's most controversial cartoonist.
Ben the Looney is a man of many talents. Although his internet career began with crudely cobbled together rant videos in which he very passionately screams about children's cartoons.
Fill me with pleasure, Teen Titans Go!
Fill me with pleasure.
He has also expanded into
That was a fire
creating his
clip.
own art and animations, some of which actually depict people who are not children, making storytime videos, some of which actually have accrued a pretty decent amount of views.
Bro, see what I'm saying? He was ahead of the curve. He was the original Odd Ones Out. The Odd Ones Out ripped off his entire thing. Beat for beat, bar for bar.
And even rapping. I honestly don't have anything I could say here that would be better than just playing you an excerpt from one of his songs.
Boys, all I really want is boys. I want them to treat me like a toy. When I'm around them,
Here.
Nick, are you okay? Why am I there?
Okay. No, Nick,
Why'd
not
you have to
Nick,
put
not
me there, bro? Why? Jormy, I know you're watching this. Why did I have to be in this? I shouldn't be associated with this degenerate shit. Jormy, come on. Don't do me like that. This was a nice picture taken inside of a fucking 7-Eleven in New York City. Okay, when I was hanging out with my family. And not only was it turned into a Wojak, but it was put in this fucked up video. With this! Why?
I especially like the ones who eat their soy.
Okay.
I know a few of the Jormy 49ers.
Do eat their soy? I guess that is me at this point, dude. Bro, I went to Destiny's apartment, okay? I went to his apartment, and unironically, the bro had Soylent in his fucking fridge. Like, this is a real thing. His fridge had no food. His apartment had no food. He had like 15 bottles of Soylent in the fridge and like 15 cans of Red Bull, and that was it. That was literally it. Why? He doesn't even eat. He just drinks soy.
Out there can relate. But why exactly are
He
we
was trying to trigger you? Well, he succeeded.
talking about this clearly generational talent here today? Well,
Also, yeah, I broke the smoking streak. After like 6 weeks of not smoking, I broke it, bro. It's over.
recently,
We
clips
lost.
of Ben's old videos have been going somewhat viral on Twitter, with some tweets about him having obtained millions.
I was like, I was celebrating the merch stuff. I was like, oh, I'll just have one. I won't even like it. It won't be a big deal. I was celebrating the merch selling out so quick. I was like, oh, I'm with SB. We're in Miami. We'll walk around. We'll have a good time. And then I hit the first one. I was like, I won't like it. And then I had it, and I was like, wait, I love it. And then I basically ripped through the whole pack in like one night. So, yeah, not my proudest moment. Haven't bought any since, but
Of views.
I effed up.
Some of these tweets have even accused Ben of various things, ranging from racism to being quote-unquote.
Was that a Smaggle Daggle tweet in there? There's so much lore behind this guy. Did you know there's lost videos where he rants about hating black people? No way.
Racism to being
Those are not real.
Epstein too.
I mean, damn. How the hell did her character design get approved for a kid's show? Sure, the face is geometrical, and to be honest, not very appealing to the penile zone, but that body,
Okay, I get it now.
Bro, she looks like 9 years old.
Judging from the replies,
What the
it seems as though a massive amount of people on the internet either know who Ben is or have at least seen excerpts from his videos in the past. So imagine my shock when I did some.
Well, imagine my shock.
And found that Ben's YouTube channel only has about 23,000 subscribers.
Yeah, he never really grew very much, but he was pretty infamous among like animators back in the day. Like back when I was making like rant videos about like cartoon stuff. This is old Turkey Tom lore, bro. This is old Turkey Tom lore. If you go on the channel, you sort by oldest. This kind of bro. This is when
I don't think anyone who made a video about you didn't at least see it, then I don't see why you would say this. On the same note,
I think we've probably seen enough, but yeah. When I was in this era, when this was the era I was in, that's the I was making, bro. And that's when I was on Ben the Looney. That's when he was my greatest lolcow.
Now, obviously, that's
Were you 12? I think I was 14 or 15.
to scoff at, but it still seems notable that the visibility of Ben's content has extended so far beyond the reach of his channel's size. But actually, this isn't anything new. In fact, the Ben the Looney brand has for many years been plagued by controversies which often eclipse
No,
Ben's
Nick not always
subscriber
messes
count
with
by
me. In
orders
what
of magnitude. Over the years,
No,
Ben
Nick
has
not always
been
messes with me.
accused of racism by the creator of a
Tristan?
viral indie game, been sucked into the cancellation of the degenerate artist
Yeah, I am.
Shadman.
Somebody
and
Turkey
has
Tom
even
mentions.
indirectly caused one of the most mainstream YouTube dramas of the last 2 years, the cancellation of Creepshow art. The amount of ire that Ben's
No, Nick
content
not
has
always
managed to
messes
draw
with
to
me.
channel. Crypto Art's one of those channels that's just never going to come back, right? I can't imagine her ever returning to YouTube. I'm pretty sure Illuminati's going to return to YouTube, and I'll make a video about that eventually because I've been following her lawsuit stuff. So I'm pretty sure she's going to return to YouTube, and she might even win some of her lawsuit. She might even win. But Crypto Art's just one of those channels I don't think is ever coming back to YouTube, bro. Not that it's undeserved. Not that it's undeserved. She was pretty crazy. But yeah. Should I start taking Adderall? No, you should not. I would not recommend that.
Over the years, along
any updates on Mama Max? Nope. Haven't heard anything from him.
With his relatively small sub count and his absolute refusal to be deterred from content creation for years are absolutely mind-boggling. Ben's story is one of insurmountable backlash, degenerate takes, extremely clippable moments, and an unprecedented amount of gooning, as well as, unfortunately, the mental health struggles that come with being consistently lambasted year after year by thousands upon thousands of people. So today, I'm going to be telling you all about Ben's extremely volatile internet career, as well as the controversies he's participated in and ultimately...
Did he have anything to do with Sniper Wolf? I don't remember that. Man, I watched this video at the gym a few weeks ago, and I feel like I don't remember half of it already. I was like... I was doing dumbbell press. I was like doing this while in my ear I'm hearing like, at that point, Ben the Looney ended up defending Shadman. And I was like, what the fuck? Definitely not the best energy for the gym, but you know what? It was an enjoyable video.
Ultimately, how not a single one of them has managed to get him fully canceled. Whether it be because...
Well, I mean, he definitely has been fully canceled, quote unquote. He just never quit. For watch his videos in the gym. Yeah, lately instead of listening to music, I've just been watching
No,
videos
Nick,
in the
not
gym.
Nick, not always messes with me.
If I wake up and there's like a creator I like that posted a good video, I'll be like, oh, I'm gonna watch this. I lift to women crying ASMR bass.
No, not what messes with me. Their records weren't exactly as squeaky clean as they let on, because there was a greater evil lurking behind the scenes that drew attention away from him, or simply because his audience never cared about his shortcomings in the first place.
I mean, yes, but he doesn't have like much of an audience in the first place. First of all, like not a very big channel, right? I mean, his latest video didn't even crack 1,000 views a month ago, so it's not like he has a big channel. But also, he never posited himself as like a good moral dude. You know, he was always just kind of positing himself as being a freak. I mean, you see these thumbnails and it's like, is this whoa, what the f is that? You see these thumbnails and you're like, is this nobody's coming to this channel, then becoming a fan and then being like, whoa, he's a freak. You know?
Howdy, y'all.
What are the comment section like? Ben the Goonie. Surprised he didn't talk about the monster. You know, he doesn't have a real audience here. It seems like it's mostly people just hate watching him. I think he just never gave up is how he hasn't been canceled, right? He never really apologized or like backed down. I think he did back down on some of the stuff, but he never came out and did like a cringe apology video. So that's part of why he's just been fine, quote unquote. He never had much of an audience in the first place, right?
Whatever the case, it should be fun. So let's get right into the full story of Ben the Looney. According to a few of his videos in which he describes his early life, Ben grew up in Illinois as an only child in a small neighborhood, which was home to only a few kids his age. Because of this, he spent an inordinate amount of time inside watching cartoons, as well as making up stories starring his own original characters, both of which helped birth his desire to entertain people through storytelling. Ben's dream was always to be able to create his own cartoons. In high school,
Base
he was
music
unable
choice.
to accomplish
Yeah, I'm noticing a lot of Jormy's music library overlaps. It's good stuff.
but decided
I feel like it's your favorite YouTuber, Tom. I mean, as far as like, I just bit my lip and then spit the fucking lip particle on the microphone. That's fire. But yeah, not gonna worry about that. I mean, as far as like smaller video essay content creators, I feel like he's one of the better up and coming guys. Yeah, I like him.
the next best thing would be to upload videos of himself discussing other people's cartoons. And thus, the Ben Rants series was born, and he actually began to accrue somewhat of an audience. I should note here that the Ben who is starring in these videos is not Ben himself, but a character he created known as Ben T. Looney.
Just a character.
This is most commonly done
all
so
playing
that
a
creators
character.
can fall back on the idea that all of their statements were made by their...
All that fucked up shit I said, all the bad Turkey Tom moments, that was me playing a character. But in the moments where I was based and cool, that was me being the real Tom. Any haircut advice? Tell him to fuck your shit up.
Characters and not them personally, just in case anything they say happens to make people
Are you planning to make a vid on this guy? Maybe. I feel like Jormy covered most of the stuff I would want to cover, but maybe.
This didn't really do anything to help Ben, though. He first began uploading on a YouTube channel called Puffy Zilla Man 4, named for the animated series Hi Hi Puffy Amy Yumi and
it's Puffy Yami Yumi.
Zilla, two of Ben's interests. And as you can see from its video catalog, the vast majority of uploads were either part of the Ben Rants or Ben Salutes series, with Ben Salutes being the positive counterpart to the often overly negative Ben Rants. People appreciated Ben's lack of a filter and complete fearlessness in his self-expression. And while this certainly helped attract people to his channel, as we've seen in the past, this isn't always a good thing. Case in point, after just a few years of uploading, Ben would create one of his first truly infamous pieces of content, Ben Rants, The Looney Tunes Show. The video attained an astounding 288,000 views, which is
that was a good show.
if you count.
I remember liking that. They did a lot of weird stuff in that show. They had like World War II bits in there, where I think one of the characters was like a Nazi. The Looney Tunes Show World War II. It was about like art theft. Was like the plot. Nah, it wasn't that. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? About like the Looney Tunes Show. One of the weirdest things from this show was you remember the grilled cheese bit? This was like totally unhinged for a kid's cartoon. Yeah, the Looney Tunes Show grilled cheese. This was crazy. I can't believe they did this. Not that I disagree with him. I mean, you know, grilled cheese is pretty special. This shot, you'll know when you see it.
Cause the butter and the cheese are gonna...
Look at that frame. How can you excuse that frame? Smaggle's a pretty good singer. How can you excuse this frame in any cartoon? Children's cartoon or not, how can you excuse this kind of look? This kind of riz? Elmer Chud? Now that you put it that way, that was pretty crazy.
Accounts attained by any of his other Ben Rants videos even to this very day, due in large part to the negative attention which it drew to the channel. The reason this video was so hated was because, in the eyes of many,
he's gonna
Ben
freak the
didn't give
sandwich.
The Looney Tunes Show a fair
I mean,
chance.
I assume he's not gonna just hang out and eat it. I assume something else is gonna happen to the sandwich, you know? I'm fully erect, he says at the grilled cheese. Well, nickel pickled, you know, it happens to us sometimes.
Rather, his takes just served to show that he was simply unable to handle any kind of change, with most of his criticisms being that the show was different from the classic Looney Tunes cartoons. He also, at a certain point, completely lost it and started screaming into the mic.
So, this is the first episode of the Looney Tunes Show, and it was freaking terrible! Oh my freaking gosh!
Whoa.
This, along...
Dude, this reminds me of like the Teen Titans Go rants back in the day. People were so mad at that show. Granted, it was a pretty bad show compared to the original. The ultimate Teen Titans Go rant. I feel like there were like a lot back in the day of just like autists ranting about it. Based? No, that video was not based.
Yes, I may
Self-sorted out.
They are sometimes goofy and comedic. Raven, however, shows a little bit of her character development, like casting magic spells, teleporting, and fighting for the Titans.
What
including
is
her friend
this?
Starfire. She can be
Is this like ironic? What am I looking at?
a sarcastic, deadpan demon girl who'd rather be left alone. She's into
The ultimate Teen Titans Go rant.
Instead, I think we need to stop and focus on the reaction to Teen Titans Go and not the show itself. It's no surprise that people dislike the show. I've made more than a few videos talking about how bad it is, but that gets pretty repetitive when I'm saying the same thing over and over. Teen Titans Go is bad because it's cheap, just random unfunny jokes, and it's targeted towards mindless kids. I've repeated myself throughout various videos, and while these reasons are still my opinion when talking about the show, I think it would be best if we stop overreacting.
Like this basically became this was like the SpongeBob of Cartoon Network, because it's all they would play back in the day for hours and hours. I remember, like, because I was like kind of an animator spurg back in the day, I remember watching my little brother watch this shit, who was like 9 years old at the time, and I remember being like, turn this shit off, this is bad, watch the original Teen Titans. And the original Teen Titans was good. The original Teen Titans was genuinely a very good show. I remember Slade scared the fuck out of me. Like, he was very scary. His voice was really creepy.
Not you up at night. The evil that haunts every dark corner of your mind. I will never rest, and neither will you.
My friends say you're not real.
I'm very real.
Like, that voice just scared the shit out of me. Yeah, this guy freaked me out. Another thing that freaked me out, I've talked about this before, was in Batman Beyond, there was like this billionaire who like put himself in a computer. You guys remember what I'm talking about? He like transfers his consciousness. Yeah, this is it. The plot is basically there's like this billionaire who dies, and before he dies, he transfers his consciousness or his brain or something into a computer and like a little disc, and then his grandson inherits the company and doesn't know how to run it, so he tries to consult him. And then the entire episode is about the billionaire trying to transfer his consciousness into his grandson's body so he can keep living. You can see it right there. This scared the shit. He commandeers the Batmobile. Nice. Super scary, bro. Super scary. Batman Beyond in general was just really good. The intro was really good in this show. Yeah, this. It had a very cool, it had like an industrial metal like intro song. I think I used to use the music in this in videos like a long time ago. Like, this is, yeah, the part with the skull at the end. It was scary as hell. It was so cool. I felt so badass watching this. I remember they played this on Cartoon Network a little bit, I think, maybe on Boomerang, but there was this channel I used to get called The Hub. I don't even know if it's around anymore, but they would play a lot of like old Warner Brothers stuff. I guess it's not around anymore. Yeah, this, bro.
Really? Come on! It's
Full episodes with commercials. Yeah, they played My Little Pony. Cringe. Yeah, they played this Transformers show that was good. I don't know why. Is this like a Canadian channel or something? I feel like it didn't feel exactly right for whatever TV I had, because I was not in Canada. But yeah, this show had some serious fire back in the day. Okay, I guess it's defunct now, but I think it's Canadian. I don't know why I was even getting it then, but I remember I had it. I want to say it was like, because channel like 60 or something was like Spike, and then 61 was Comedy Central, and 62 was FX. I want to say it was like channel 63 on my TV or something. But yeah, I was watching a lot of TV at that time.
Alongside the fact that he described feeling as though he had been, quote-unquote, physically raped by the show, caused people to hate watch the video with the express purpose of laughing at Ben's absolute meltdown. Other things about Ben's channel which drew the attention of hate watchers was his tendency to self-censor by using made-up cuss words like bull split and truck, as well as his habit of captioning his videos with Eva Z fond level statements like, seriously, to any girl out there, please love me. Ultimately, this would be the last video ever posted to the Puffy Zillaman 4 account, with Ben taking a hiatus from the Ben Rant series and eventually being unable to log back into the account, apparently due to the permanent death of his old computer. This leads us to the creation of the Ben the Looney channel, which he is active on to this very day, although its name has since been changed to just Puffy Zillaman. Over the course of his activity on the Ben the Looney channel, Ben would continually switch his stance on the Ben Rant series, first expressing a desire to kill the Ben T. Looney character and move on to making more positive videos.
Every single image has to be from Soy Jack Party.
But then quickly caving to requests to bring the series back, or finding more interesting topics that he couldn't resist ranting about. A great example of this is when he literally animated the character rising from the grave after taking a break from the series, which is honestly the best demonstration I could think of to show his tendency to go back on his word. One of the main reasons for Ben moving away from making rant videos was that in 2013, he announced he was currently pursuing his dreams of becoming an animator and attending college in order to improve his skills, and as such, he had less time to record videos. Furthermore, he wanted to begin focusing more on posting his own art and animations. For example, he created the Daisy and Dexter mysteries and all Alright Cartoons, which were 2 recurring series on his channel for a period of time. He also made forays into different fields, such as storytime animations, review-style videos, his artist
He was diversifying his
spotlight
content.
series, and even YouTube poops. But unfortunately
YouTube
for Ben,
poops.
nothing ever quite stuck like Ben Rants.
I didn't know that. I kind of want to see his old YouTube poops now. Ben the Looney YTP. Did other people make YTPs of him? The Ben the Looney collab re-upload. All right, I'll get into it. Why is it 24 minutes long?
Yes?
I'm constantly suffering.
Are you sure? That's simple. I can make that. Are you sure?
All right, we might be getting in too deep here. YTP Ben the Looney rants on a stack of wood.
Welcome back to Ben Rants.
Seizure warning.
Demonstration I could think of to show his tendency to go back on his word. One of the main reasons for Ben moving away from making rant videos was that in 2013 he announced he was currently pursuing his dreams of becoming an animator by attending college.
If today is 9/11, it's real.
As such, he had less time to record videos. Furthermore, he
Today
wanted
is
to begin
9/11, it's
focusing
real.
more on posting his own art and animations. For
Today is
example,
9/11, it's
he
real.
created the Daisy and Dexter mysteries and Alright Cartoons, which were 2 recurring series on his channel for a period of time. He also made forays into different fields, such as storytime animations, review-style videos, his artist
He was diversifying his content.
and even YouTube poops. But unfortunately for Ben, nothing ever quite stuck like Ben Rants.
I didn't know that. I kind of want to see his old YouTube poops now. Ben the Looney YTP. Did other people make YTPs of him? The Ben the Looney collab re-upload. All right, I'll get into it. Why is it 24 minutes long?
Yes?
I'm constantly suffering.
What? Are you sure? That's simple. I can make that. Are you sure?
All right, we might be getting in too deep here. YTP Ben the Looney rants on a stack of wood.
Welcome back to Ben Rants.
Seizure warning. Jeez.
And when I was a kid, I went to SpongeBob.
Did other people make YTPs of him? The Ben the Looney collab re-upload. All right, I'll get into it. Why is it 24 minutes long?
Yes?
I'm constantly suffering.
Are you sure? That's simple. I can make that. Are you sure?
All right, we might be getting in too deep here. YTP Ben the Looney rants on a stack of wood.
Welcome back to Ben Rants.
Seizure warning. Jeez.
And when I was a kid, I went to SpongeBob. I want to be a voodoo doll. Why do I have to live in a mall? Produces.
Everybody talks about how bad brain rot content is now. It's like, oh, how can kids watch this? Bro, this is 10 times more insane than Skibbity Toilet, okay? This is what we were watching 10 years ago. This is 10 times more insane. They said your BBL Tommy in my hood. True. Ben the Looney YTP collab 2023 remastered.
And get the heck out. Most of my videos are me playing kids. Well, somebody's gotta do it. Oh crap, I wasn't supposed to say that.
Wow.
She turns the corner and sees Twilight being harassed by Ben T. Looney.
Wow. Think about this. Past 9 years, in December 2013, he quit rants, salutes, and review videos by Ben the Looney. But unfortunately, Cartoon Lover 98 is terminated. He cannot forever. With is decided to remaster the cause of archiving as many added clips as possible. 0 comments. I'll leave a comment saying, lol. We're weighing in.
Beyond continually switching his stance on his most popular series, Ben also underwent a variety of other changes throughout his online career. For example,
What if I give you point?
quite a journey in terms of personal.
I didn't watch any of that? Well, you were missing out.
At the beginning of his online activities,
You're missing
many would
out.
have classified Ben as an anti-SJW due to his ardent stances on censorship and the quote-unquote ultra-PC society of today. However, over the years, Ben would become increasingly more and more progressive, noting that he became a feminist,
I'm a
because
feminist.
of Captain Marvel and the rest was
Based.
history. Next thing you know, he was posting art on Twitter of his quote-unquote half Dominican, half Haitian gay merboy character.
Okay. Meet AJ, my half Dominican, half Haitian gay merboy. Hashtag mermay. Surely he's memeing? No, Ben the Looney is not memeing. In this particular case, he's not memeing, and this is his actual gay mermoy boyfriend.
And speaking out against things like the
Did he have gyno? Yeah, it was weird. He would always draw men with like giant nipples and like floppy tits. I don't really know. Art style problems, I guess. I don't know, bro.
Abortion ban. He also posted Black History Month NSFW one year, which truly, the world is healing. He also went through a weird phase at one point where he started to illustrate his avatar nude in every video.
Yeah, I don't know what that era was about.
The family-friendly
His dick is practically in it.
Aspects of his channel, but he would eventually thankfully revert to having his avatar wear clothes. I don't really know what that
Why was the drawing like 10 times better in that one thing? Did he hire an artist?
era was about, but I will say
Black Lives Matter diaper for art, dude. That
I'm a
was
cow. What if I get hit by an airplane? This
that Looney video definitely came from this time period. What a daring video topic. Regardless, that basically leaves us in the present day in terms of Ben's development over the years as a content creator. Now, while I've been giving this admittedly brief summary of Ben's online career, you might have noticed that I've skipped over the supposed myriad controversies that I claimed he's been subjected to over the years. And that's because, well, honestly, I don't even know where to start. Ben's online behavior is so contentious in this current age that, as we've already seen, just posting a clip from one of his old videos is enough to get thousands upon thousands.
He commissioned nude art of his Sona. I mean, that's not really surprising. This guy has a 9-part series where he talks about different characters he jacks off to. This man is hilarious.
Disgusted reactions
Definitely
on Twitter.
hilarious.
And that's just the tip.
He's a relic of a forgotten era. I feel like we don't see Ben the Loonies these days, like pure autism on YouTube. You don't really see that now. Probably for the best, but, you know, some of the content is fire, undoubtedly.
The iceberg. Not only has Ben actually had videos so controversial he's seen fit to remove them from the face of the internet, he's also exhibited behavior on various other sites that have only served to solidify his degeneracy in the eyes of many. But perhaps we should start at the beginning. The quintessential Ben the Looney video. The iconic, the notorious, Ben's top 10 hottest animated women.
This video is so funny.
To many, this was the first time Ben expressed opinions that were truly deplorable.
I remember this video.
And, well, instead of talking at length about it, why don't I just show you a few of
I think his like top pick was like My Life as a Teenage Robot, Jenny or whatever. I think that was his top pick.
Ben's top 10. Jenny Robot from My Neighbor Was a Teenage Robot. Okay, she's based on a 16-year-old girl, but she's technically not a child.
That was his number 10
she's
pick.
a robot, not human. Stacy from Phineas and Ferb. Well, she's human.
Why?
She's 15 as well, so,
Why?
Misty from Pokemon.
She's like 11.
She's 10 years old. I can't... Well, what do you guys want me to say?
I heard you's a pedophile, nigga. I heard you like little boys and girls, nigga.
No, it's worth stating that this video was posted...
Cow, what if I get hit by an airplane? This house can get invaded! I could die!
He would have been in high school around this time. Regardless, this didn't exactly help quell the
Yeah, that's the greatest issue there.
backlash against him for essentially thirsting over a character based on a 10-year-old girl. And as you might remember from the clips I played in the intro of this video, this
clip with this character art is so crazy.
Behavior obviously persisted into the later years of Ben's
Epstein
career,
too.
with him ranting about Enid from OKKO's See Mime outfit as recently as 2019. Now, all of this would maybe warrant Ben getting a few call-outs on Twitter and a couple people unsubscribing from him. But if this was where his controversial behavior ended, we certainly wouldn't be talking about him here today. However, Ben has never been satisfied with simply admiring underage characters from afar. To the contrary, once he began to improve his skills at art school and his confidence in...
As soon as you get good at drawing, it's like, how can I draw kids? Haha. How can I draw kids, guys? I just got good at art. How can I draw
Cow, what if I get hit by an airplane? This house can get invaded! I could die!
Say balloon, there's some inflation
Cow, what if I get hit by an airplane? This house can get invaded! I could die!
Create and upload his own artistic works depicting some of his favorite cartoon characters. And as you might have imagined, some of these characters were, in fact, underage. Although there are many deplorable artworks in Ben's horrific catalog, I don't think it's necessary to go through his entire career as an NSFW artist.
Okay, so this is the only problem I have with Jormy videos, which I do like his videos, what I've told him. There's a lot of fluff language. There's a lot of, like, language getting between segments, and I feel like he doesn't need that. I feel like a lot of not to say a lot of the video can be cut out or anything. I feel like there's a lot of fluff language in these videos, like, and now we're going to talk about the next thing, which is the craziest thing yet. And if you thought the last thing was crazy, the next thing will be even crazier, because we're about to talk about the next thing. And the next thing is this. And listen, I love the Jormy videos, but I will say some of the fluff language could be trimmed out a little bit, okay? You can cut down the runtime of this video. Probably cut like 2-3 minutes out of the video from just statements like that alone.
Rather, I'll just give you a specific example that many people point to as being.
This talented person will explain what's in the clip and then play the full clip. You're right. This is a valid thing to criticize me on. You're right. You're right. I'm somewhat of a hypocrite. I still recognize the issue. And we are trying to cut that down, okay? In fairness, we are. It's a note that's been made to the Turkey team, okay?
Being particularly disgusting. You see, at one point, Ben decided it would be a good idea to depict a character from the Cartoon Network show We Bare Bears in a very compromising situation. And just for context, the girl's canon age is 10 years old, and she is obviously not been depicted in a situation that is anywhere near NSFW, so that's all Ben. I could go on and describe to you all any number of artworks that ruffled people's feathers over the years. People were not happy with what Ben was drawing. As you might have expected, Ben has come up with various excuses over the years for why he believes this type of art is okay. First of all, he emphasizes that even if the change is not visually obvious in his art, whenever he draws a character in a sexual context, they have been quote-unquote aged up to be at least 18 years.
Didn't you do that in your early years? He's finding his footing, give it time. Yeah, true.
Years old. So he's not really depicting a child. He is also a diehard proponent, and it's not hurting anyone argument that many a lolicon enthusiast has espoused in the past. He's even gone so far as to claim people are stupid for caring so much about his cartoon porn, while there are real issues happening elsewhere in the world, like floods in Louisiana. I mean, he's got a point, but as Mommy Jormai always told me when I was a wee lad, 2 wrongs don't make a right. And I don't think too many people would disagree that drawing little girl characters naked is a wrong. At least on some level. But from this point onwards, I will be organizing the rest of the video by separating it into 3 distinct controversies, each one sparked by the visceral reactions prompted by some of Ben's more questionable online activities. So, having explained the broad strokes of Ben's career, as well as laying the groundwork to help you all understand how he drew so much backlash upon himself, it's time to start discussing the concrete dramas he experienced with other creators. And the first one is for something you might not have expected. As you might imagine after my description of his online activities, Ben has been accused of basically everything in the book. People have called him a creep, a lolicon, wow, an anti-SJW, normal
Turkey Tom,
SJW,
shout out again.
and everything in between.
As in,
But
it's not
ironically
9/11
enough,
anymore.
one of the first things that caused Ben to get into an actual drama with another creator was when he was accused of being something completely different, racist. Which, I have to admit, I did not see coming.
The racism allegations.
Now, if you're familiar with the series of tweets that inspired me to make this video, you may think this is related to the quote tweet that was made claiming that Ben used to make rant videos about hating black people.
There's this one someone made of me years ago that's haunted me ever since. This guy I knew, he made this meme that said, because he used to have these videos that said the problems with, and he made this edit that said the problems with black people, and it blew up. And I think a bunch of people thought it was a real video, actually, which is pretty crazy. But yeah, the problems with black people. Someone, I think they messaged me a meme recently. Yeah, this one. Let's see here. They DM'd this to me. The problems with Palestine. A real video coming soon, by the way. Coming very soon. We're gonna be outlining all the issues, okay? With Hamas, with the Palestinian leadership. We're coming back, guys. We're coming back. I'm finally entering the world of political commentary to make the decisive rant video about Palestine, which will save Israel from this war, okay? And you will respect my name. Once you see this, you will respect my name as a serious political commentator. You will. You absolutely will.
The claim was accompanied by 3 of the fakest screenshots I've ever seen, supposedly taken of past videos by Ben, titled Black People, which showed Ben glaring at 2
The Hamas situation is crazy.
Color,
True.
Black People 2, which showed Ben's avatar preparing to beat an unsuspecting man over the head with a baseball bat, and A Change of Heart, which supposedly depicts some serious character development on Ben's part, as he can now be seen hugging 2 people of color with a smile on his face. These images were accompanied by the claim, "These are real, I swear to Christ," which apparently led many people in the
I think
replies
it's
to
not
actually
9/11
believe
anymore.
that Ben had produced these videos.
No, but tomorrow is not. Wait.
Now, I don't think I
Nice.
really need to
But-
explain why these are so obviously fake, but just for the record, these images
Snaggle's a
are the
false
result
accuser.
of people
He needs to be held
frames
accountable.
from one of Ben's most popular storytime animation videos.
You see, his roommates just happened to be black.
Make it look like
He didn't hate them because they were black.
But if Ben's racism accusations are so easily debunked, why did I dedicate a section of
obvious.
this video to them? Well, my dear Joe, my 49ers, the true racism allegations made against Ben were actually levied in 2017, following Ben uploading a now disowned video titled "Are Classic Cartoons Racist?" In this video, Ben makes a variety of contentious statements regarding old cartoons that had been coming under fire at the time for containing stereotypical depictions of people of color that many have deemed harmful. Let me play you some clips of Ben's defenses of these cartoons, and we'll see if you're able to pick up on why this video
Get a
didn't
fade?
exactly
Yeah, I'll be
go
getting
over
that
well.
really soon, bro.
The only way I see these cartoons as being offensive is if you are a privileged and sheltered child.
I was still right in the end. You weren't, though. You were wrong in the end. You falsely accused him. Smaggle, you've probably done worse shit than this on my live streams, okay? You probably said worse shit. So step off Ben the Looney, okay? Keep his name out of your mouth. Israel and Palestine are fighting over the Holy Lands. We should stay out of it and let God sort it out. I think we should drop Ben the Looney there and let him sort it out.
Who had no idea racism existed. Well, despite the censors' attempts to keep these cartoons hidden, some of them are in the public domain and ended up on cheap VHS tapes that you'd find in stores back in the day. I happened to have some of these tapes growing up, so I was more than familiar with these cartoons. Guess what? I didn't think anything of them.
Yeah, as you might expect.
Didn't realize Smaggle was famous. Well, the influence of the Tom Dark streams is unparalleled. Okay. The influence of the Tom Dark streams is unparalleled. So obviously it's going to lead to a certain amount of people checking him out, okay? The memes are permeating the culture. The memes are spreading far and wide.
In fact, implying that only privileged and sheltered people would find these depictions offensive, as well as the "I watched it and I'm not racist" argument, were not received very well. Soon enough,
I came
Ben
here
found
to let
himself in some hot water, as he was declared a racist by fellow content creators. The most significant of these creators who saw fit to call Ben out was a fellow YouTuber who has a long history of accusing people of racism, Soul Brother Number 3, also known as SBN3.
I know this guy for some reason. I don't know exactly why, but I know this Soul Brother Number 3 is a real person. I remember him from some other video I did. I can't remember, though.
Or Max, which is how I'll be referring to him from now on. Max was known in the past for posting various different types of videos to YouTube, ranging from comedic skits to animation dubs, and even informational videos about things like how to be a voice
an online voice actor.
However, nowadays, he's mostly known as the creator of the wildly successful game Class of 09, a dark
Class of 09
comedy visual novel that has attained overwhelmingly positive reviews.
Class of 09. Why do I know what this is? I've never played this game yet. I feel like I know about it against
I
my will.
came here
What
to
is
let
this?
you know what.
Doing some homemade cake. $5.
What is this?
Fine. Okay, $4.
Why is everyone out?
This looks cringe. Jesus. Okay, maybe it's good. I don't know, but not really my thing.
Views across the internet and gone absolutely viral on social media for various clips like these.
All I deserve is a deep plunge. You did this, Nicole!
Oh, God. What was that 90s TV show? Did I do that?
Max had not taken kindly to Ben's opinions on the matter of classic cartoons and decided to thus make a
You unironically black-pilled me? Why is that, Max? We gotta be white-pilled, okay? We gotta be white-pilled. There's a lot of dark shit out there that you can't control. There's a lot of bad shit, but nevertheless, don't let that stop you from coming back. Don't let that stop you from coming back, okay?
YouTube video about Ben accusing him of being a quote-unquote racist pedophile. Now, while this video is unfortunately lost to time, we can still look back on various tweets made by Max and his associates about Ben from this period. These tweets include some absolute gems, such as when Ben feebly resisted the accusations of racism.
Eminem is your favorite. No, Busta Rhymes is.
By mentioning that his favorite hip-hop artist is Busta Rhymes.
This guy's like me.
Who is not white, so I definitely see his point. These accusations mark the first time that a controversy surrounding Ben's name actually managed to spread decently far compared to his channel size. This is partially due to the fact that he was being called out by a creator whose channel was bigger than his. After all, the SBN3 channel now sits at more than 80,000 subscribers, making it far larger than Ben's.
I came here to let you know what day it's
I've
coming.
never even seen this. I know the name, and I feel like I've seen his videos, but I can't remember something like specifically that he did. His latest video was 5 months ago. episodes about Class of 09. How to be an online voice actor.
So with the digital age, you talking into a microphone is cheaper than ever, aka
9
being
years
a
ago
voice
he made
actor.
this?
Now we got this thing called the
This video feels ahead of its time
matching
for
the
the
speech
editing
patterns to
style.
cartoon lips on the LCD. Study some screen actors and put the anime away. It'll make your go-to inflections sound real. Practice is only making perfect if you got a foundation to practice on. Knowing and applying all of that makes you a valuable talent to any production. So you got the right idea with a talented brain people would pay for. That talent ain't doing much unless you spend money to make money.
Interesting. Very interesting.
The call out was for something as heinous as supposedly being a racist and a pedophile, which are things that the internet does not.
We know you
take
enjoy
kindly to.
boyfriend ASMR. Yeah, I enjoy boyfriend ASMR.
However, at the end of the day,
True.
this didn't really end up going anywhere.
That's how I fall
One
asleep every
reason
day.
many people point to as a justification for why Mac's call-out didn't quite have the desired effect was that, although Max clearly opposed Ben's stance on NSFW of underage characters and made it a point to call him a creep over it, there was much speculation circling at the time that one of Mac's regular collaborators, a user named OMGTSN, was actually a creep himself. However, the accusations against OMGTSN were actually far more severe than anything that had been levied towards Ben, with multiple call-out posts being made accusing him of having an inappropriate relationship with someone who was only 13 years old. Now, I'm
What
not
is
here to
allowed
speculate on the
house you
veracity of
doing,
these claims.
doing.
I feel
I
I'm not
came here
equipped to do so in the
let
scope
you
of
know
this
a
video, especially given that a lot of these posts have been lost to time. However, what I can say is that being so closely associated with someone who was being accused of these things really hurt Max's case against Ben, at least in the eyes of some internet users. Beyond that, people were starting to realize that Max was just a person who called people racist very easily, especially given his tendency to claim things like that anime is racist for being too westernized and depicting their characters as, in his opinion, too white. When asked if the solution to this problem would be for animators to start drawing animated characters,
It's pretty ironic that you decry anime as racist, but then project your culture's politics onto them. Japanese people see anime characters as Asian. What, do you want them to start being tinted slightly yellow and drawn so that you, a Westerner, can understand Eastern cartoons? Then why were they depicting themselves differently before Tezuka? Before Tezuka? Don't put that BS, answer the question. Do you want the Japanese to draw characters how you, a Westerner, expect the Japanese to look? Do you want them to tailor to you, a minor fraction of their audience? What makes you think they give two blue turds about some wigga who dubs over their stuff with outdated references and flat one-liners?
to look more stereotypically Asian in order to satisfy him, a white man, Max decided to just delete the entire conversation.
Lol.
To detract from his criticisms even more, part of Max's callouts were inherently flawed,
1984.
such as when he accused Ben of referring to people of color as quote-unquote the blacks in order to make him look insensitive,
blacks?
even though this straight up just didn't happen.